Chapter 34. What is this? It's a double-sided needle that's no different from a compass. But if it's something exchanged from the mysterious system, it shouldn't be anything ordinary. At least, that's what Shoujo thinks. Could this compass help us find the exit? Mikoto pointed at the compass in Wu Yan's hand and said with a smile. Even though she knows about the system and can see the list, but she doesn't know anything about the system. If it wasn't for the fact that it's in Wu Yan's hand, she might even have the mood to look at it. Shaking the compass in his hand, Wu Yan looked at Mikoto speechlessly. Are you sure you're not mistaken? We're going in, not out. Mikoto flinched and awkwardly scratched her head. Then what's the use of it? Is it just to find the exit? You guessed right. Wu Yan shook his head with a smile. He raised the compass and said, This is a special compass. Normal compasses can only point south, but this compass can guide the user in the direction of concepts, such as enter. So mystical. Hinagiku looked at the compass with interest. She's heard Wu Yan talk about the mystical things in the system, but this is the first time she's seen it in action. Other than the summoning, she's never seen with her own eyes. Let's give it a try. Mikoto was also curious. Even though there are many strange things in Academy City, but in that world full of science and technology, everything can be explained by science. She's never seen an item that uses concepts as its driving force. As a 14-year-old girl, it's normal for her to be curious about new things. This means that she's still at the age where she likes to play. I'm already using it. As soon as he said that, the compass in Wu Yan's hand floated up into the air. It gurgled and spun twice before shooting in a certain direction. Hinagiku and Mikoto were stunned as they looked at the compass that was shot out in surprise. This compass can lead the way automatically? Shoujo pointed in the direction where the compass flew, her mouth wide open. Shouldn't the so-called compass only have a finger? How could Hinagiku, who was still living in a normal world a month ago, not be surprised when she learned how to lead the way? Looks like it's going to be fun. Let's catch up. Mikoto excitedly clenched her fist and said. Then she took a step forward and ran away without waiting for Shoujo and Wu Yan. Wait. Shoujo quickly chased after them. Attracted by the novel items, the fear in the hearts of the two women had more or less disappeared. Wu Yan chased after them with a wry smile. For the sake of this fun, I spent 1,000 item points on it. In the passageway that wasn't too dark and had a bit of light, the three of them immediately started running, chasing after the compass that had been shot in front of them. The chaotic sound of their footsteps spread far and wide in the wide passageway, bringing about echoes of their footsteps. Until a certain moment, the compass flying in front of Wu Yan's group suddenly stopped and pointed in a certain direction. Wu Yan's group quickly stopped. Shoujo looked at the walls and rocks around them and asked doubtfully, Is there a path here? I don't see anything. Is that compass okay? Mikoto pointed at it. It seems to be pointing at a wall. Wu Yan nodded. He was a bit confused. After thinking for a while, he raised his head and looked at the wall that the compass was pointing at. His eyes flashed with a complicated light. Wall. Level 20. Wu Yan's face fell. A wall has a level? How is that possible? If a wall has a level, then Buddha's golden statue's level should be heaven-defying. The only explanation is that this isn't a wall but a monster. Moreover, it's a monster called a wall. It looks like a wall and can block people. Isn't this a scam? Such a monster was standing there, yet they had not discovered it along the way. Why hadn't the system detected it just now? Actually, it wasn't Wu Yan's fault. The main thing was that Wu Yan didn't pay attention to the wall. He didn't have the habit of looking at the wall. The system's detection function only detects things within sight. Naturally, it didn't detect anything. What's wrong? Mikoto immediately asked when she saw Wu Yan's expression change. Pointing at the monster called a wall, Wu Yan weakly said. That should be the entrance, Shoujo frowned. Where is the entrance? That's clearly a wall. Ha! Wu Yan sighed and waved his hand. That is indeed the entrance. It's just that the monster is blocking it. Monster. Chuju's body trembled and nervously said. Monster, where is it? That's why. Rubbing his forehead, Wu Yen rolled his eyes. That wall is the monster that's blocking the way. Wall. The two girls were stunned. You're saying that the wall looks like a wall, but it's actually not a wall. It's a monster that looks like a wall? Mikoto's mouth twitched. She felt that this was ridiculous. Everyone has heard of monsters, but this is the first time someone said that a wall is a monster. Looking at the two girls in disbelief, Wu Yen didn't say anything. He pulled out his Kusanagi sword and slashed at the wall. Logically speaking, if it was a normal wall, then with Wu Yan's strength, this slash should have shattered the wall into pieces. But now, there's a huge wound on the wall. Roar! A huge roar came from the wall. Rather than a roar, it's more like a cry of pain. The sound reverberated throughout the tunnel, causing a violent echo. Hinagiku and Mikoto looked at the wall in horror and screamed. The sudden sound, and such a loud one at that, really scared them out of their wit. The tunnel started to shake. Some stones fell from above. Wu Yen quickly retreated to Mikoto and Chuju's side and looked at the wall. The shaking slowly weakened until it stopped. The strange situation made Mikoto and Chuju nervous. They didn't say anything and just pulled on Wu Yan's clothes. Wu Yen was speechless. Although she's strong, and Mikoto is stronger than him, she's still young. Afraid of monsters, suddenly, the wall that Wu Yen slashed started to wriggle like a piece of pudding. Under the gaze of Wu Yen and the others, the wall broke away and slowly floated in front of Wu Yen and the others. The wriggling speed became more violent. Two huge rocks seemed to have been shaken off from the wall and fell to the ground, creating two more holes in the wall. A crack split open under the two holes, and a strange cry came out from the crack. It was clearly an eye and a mouth. Finally, a bit like a monster. Wu Yen said with a bit of relief. Compared to Wu Yan's relief, Mikoto and Chuju hugged each other tightly. They looked at the wall that turned into a human face with tears in their eyes. Roar! The wall roared, turned in the air and slammed towards Wu Yen and the others. Get out of the way! Wu Yen yelled and he quickly dodged to the side. Mikoto and Hinagiku reacted quickly and dodged in a fluster. The wall brushed past Wu Yen and the others. It didn't slow down and slammed into the wall behind them. It shook its body twice, turned around and continued to slam towards the three. Dodging the wall, again, Wu Yen raised his longsword. Mikoto's body started to flash with electricity. It was normal for a girl to be afraid of a demon. But Mikoto was a level 68 ranker, and she was usually very tomboyish. So, after the initial fear, she was able to quickly adjust herself when she saw a real demon. The unknown is the scariest. Mikoto showed this very well. Hinagiku, on the other hand, still had a frightened look on her face. After all, she was most afraid of ghosts, and demons were also included in this category. Wu Yan's eyes were fixed on the wall. But Wu Yen kept an eye on Chuju so that he could support her at any time. It's not that Wu Yen didn't care about Mikoto. Mikoto's strength was many times stronger than his. He didn't need to worry about her. But Chuju was the weakest of the three. If something were to happen to her, Chuju wouldn't be able to revive. After all, she wasn't Wu Yan's summon. As expected, Chuju couldn't do anything about these supernatural items. Wu Yen sighed in his heart. He raised his sword and rushed towards the wall. Since Chuju was afraid of these things, then it's better to get rid of her quickly. She's only level 20 anyway. The wall had used charge on Wu Yan's group and was dodged by Wu Yan's group. Right now, the wall was still in a charging position, preparing to ram into the wall like last time. But Wu Yen quickly rushed behind the wall and cut off a corner of the wall. Before the wall could cry out in pain, Wu Yen crouched down on the ground. A blue electric current flashed past Wu Yan's head and hit the wall, slamming it into the wall. It's not over yet. Mikoto waved her hands, and two similar electric currents shot out from her forehead. One after the other, they hit the wall, causing two huge explosions and a large amount of rubble to fly everywhere. Standing up and patting the dirt off his body, Wu Yen shook his head. Why didn't you just let me hack you to death? Great, now you're being whipped by a violent girl. Is it dead? Shoujo took 2 steps back and asked weakly. Wu Yen couldn't help but smile bitterly. He already said, don't come if you're afraid. Should be dead. Mikoto said casually as she brushed her bangs. It was as if the wall wasn't a monster but a hooligan that she usually taught a lesson to. Looking at Mikoto, who brushed her bangs, Wu Yen ridiculed in his heart. I wonder who was the one who was scared to death just now. While Wu Yen was ridiculing, Mikoto was acting cool, and Shoujo was feeling uneasy. An explosion sounded. Instantly, debris flew everywhere. The 3 of them were shocked. Wu Yen swung his sword and deflected the debris. Mikoto stood in place. Her body flashed with electric currents again. The moment the debris came into contact with her body, it turned into dust. As the debris was continuously deflected, the wall that had shrunk suddenly rushed out and crashed into Shoujo. Wu Yen and Mikoto were shocked. They wanted to help Shoujo, but who knew, looking at the wall that was about to crash into her, the fear on Shoujo's face became deeper and deeper. Just as she was about to be hit, the fear on her face suddenly collapsed. Don't come over! With a broken expression, Hinagiku smashed the wall to the ground with a single punch. With a clench of her fist, the crystal sword White Cherry appeared in her hand. She continued to smash the wall with all her might. Don't come over, don't come over, don't come over, don't come over, don't come over. Looking at the wall that was getting smaller and smaller under Shoujo's relentless attacks, Wu Yen and Mikoto couldn't help but take a step back at the same time. The 2 of them looked at each other and laughed dryly. They had the same thought in their eyes. Shoujo is someone that they definitely can't mess with. Chapter 35. Even if he didn't do it himself, Wu Yen is sure that the monster named Wall is also a wall. It's dead as can be. Under Shoujo's merciless attacks, the monster's 3 to 4 meter tall body was already shattered into a pile of rock. However, Shoujo's attacks didn't stop. Shoujo's eyes were tightly shut as she swung White Cherry around. She kept yelling and smashing the ground as if the ground had a grudge against her. Wu Yen and Mikoto have been watching Shoujo's actions for nearly 5 minutes. They were originally a little afraid of Shoujo going crazy, but now that fear has completely turned into shame. Wu Yen felt that if this continued, even if Kaishu-sama didn't get tired, he and Mikoto would get tired of watching. So it's better to stop her. Shoujo. Wu Yen had the most fake smile on his face. He pointed at the crater that appeared under Shoujo's attack. That piece of wall is already broken, don't hit it anymore. Shoujo stopped smashing the wall. Panting heavily, she looked at Wu Yen with a scared expression on her face. She stuttered. Broken. Broken. Is it dead? Looking at Shoujo, who still hasn't recovered from her state, Wu Yen started to doubt whether bringing Shoujo here was the right choice. This is only the first demon they encountered, and Hinagiku is already showing signs of going berserk. What's more, there's bound to be hordes and hordes of demons coming their way. When that happens, thinking of this, Wu Yen shuddered. It's already dead. So, Shoujo, don't hit it anymore. It's clear that even LVL-5 and LVL-68 Mikoto is afraid of Kaishu-sama going berserk. Dead. Dead. Shoujo slowly lowered her head and looked at the ground that she smashed. Other than a meter-wide crater, there was nothing left. The wall monster also died who knows where. Ha ha. Ha 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 ha. It died just like that. There's nothing to be afraid of. Ha ha. Shoujo breathed a sigh of relief. The white cherry blossom in her hand scattered. She panted a few times and put her hands on her waist. She laughed dryly. That smile was as fake as it could be. The 2 onlookers felt that it's best not to interrupt Shoujo's performance. Wu Yen decided to ignore Shoujo and walk to the hole that appeared when the wall broke away. Inside the hole was a much smaller passage. The passage didn't extend inwards but downwards instead. It looked like a slide. The surface of the passage was very smooth. It seems that it's possible to slide down directly. This should be the correct passage. Mikoto walked to Wu Yan's side and looked at the slide-like passage. After seeing a monster, Mikoto's fear of monsters has completely disappeared. It should be, Wu Yan said with uncertainty. Since the concept compass is pointing here, then this should be the passage that leads deeper into the seal. Then, should we go down? Mikoto asked. Next, it's going to be really dangerous. Wu Yan tightened his grip on the Kusanagi sword. Hesitation? Fear? Or excitement? Looking at the complicated emotions in Wu Yan's eyes, Mikoto couldn't help but say, "Don't worry, I'm with you." Wu Yan turned to look at Mikoto. He stared at Mikoto until her face turned red and her eyes drifted away. Don't misunderstand. I'm only doing this for myself. Yes, for myself. If you die, I'll die too. Wu Yan laughed. His laughter made Mikoto's face redden even more. Before Mikoto could act like a tsundere again, Wu Yan said solemnly, "Yes, thank you, Mikoto." Mikoto was stunned. She humphed and turned her head away without saying anything. "Don't forget about me. I'll help too." The voice behind them made Wu Yan and Mikoto's body stiffen. Both of them giggled like idiot. Hinagiku walked over with a face full of dissatisfaction. There's even a hint of jealousy in her eyes. Even though she was out of line for a bit, she still saw the interaction between Wu Yan and Mikoto. However, she didn't glare at Mikoto, instead she glared at Wu Yan like she's looking at a big heartless rat. Scratching his face, Wu Yan smiled at Shoujo. This made Shoujo even more dissatisfied. Better to change the topic with that in mind. Wu Yan quickly turned back to look at the passage. "Okay, let's go." Wu Yan jumped into the passage and slid down. "Let's go down as well, Shoujo," Mikoto said and slid down as well. Shoujo stood at the entrance and watched the two leave. She looked around and saw that there was no one around. She quickly followed them. The passage wasn't very long. After a while, Wu Yan saw the exit of the slide. He slid down quickly. A sense of discomfort came over him. Wu Yan quickly adjusted his posture. He looked down and saw that he was in midair. The ground was at least 10 meters away from him. Wu Yan was shocked when he realized that he was in midair. He quickly adjusted his posture and stood firmly on the ground. "Ah!" A scream came from above. Wu Yan looked up and saw a creature named Misaka Mikoto falling down on his head. Her skirt fluttered and her safety pants were exposed. Wu Yan was stunned. He quickly reached out and caught her. "I'm going to faint. How did you fall down? I thought you could use electromagnetic force to stick to the wall?" Wu Yan was speechless as he looked at the girl in his arms. Being carried like a princess by Wu Yan, Mikoto's face couldn't help but redden. I didn't make it in time. She needs training. This is the consequence of not having any combat experience. Even though Mikoto was LV5, she hadn't fought a single real battle yet. Those fights weren't called battles, they were called sparring sessions. Was that why she couldn't maintain a good battle mentality and react in time under any circumstances? Wait. If Mikoto fell down, that means… Ah! Hinagiku shrieked as well, startling the two who are having an affair. Wu Yan put Mikoto down and caught Hinagiku in the same way before opening his dead fish eyes. I really don't know if I'm suffering or enjoying, helplessly putting down Shoujo, who was still in a state of shock. Wu Yan picked up the Kusanagi sword, he threw on the ground and looked at the two girls. "Come on, can you be a little more alert? If I didn't catch you, you'd probably fall to your death from a height of 10 meters. Under Wu Yan's helpless and teasing gaze, the two girls lowered their heads like defeated roosters. Then they raised their heads again and refuted loudly. "What? I just didn't react in time. Next time I'll definitely." By Mikoto. Yeah, you just didn't react in time. How dare you teach us a lesson after taking advantage of us? By Shoujo. Too damned Sundara, even though I like it. Suddenly, a strong wind blew, causing the three of them to be stunned. Wu Yen quickly reacted and hugged Shoujo and dodged to the side with Mikoto. A shadow flashed past where they were standing and stopped. What is that? Mikoto exclaimed while Wu Yen was still hugging Shoujo. Wu Yen quickly looked up and saw a werewolf monster standing there. Its green eyes were staring at them and saliva was dripping from its mouth, as if it was looking at a delicious meal. Big Wolf Demon. Level 30. Wu Yan's expression turned serious. Level 30, in the Heron Palace, only I Ching can reach this level of strength. Now, a random wolf demon that came out of nowhere is already level 30. No wonder the Heron Palace's people died one after another when they came in. This is a werewolf? Lying in Wu Yan's arms, Shoujo ignored her embarrassment and looked at the werewolf in shock. Demons are really strange. One moment it's a wall, the next it's a werewolf. Mikoto actually started complaining. Come on, is this the time to complain? Well, although this wolf demon is nothing to you, it's just that you don't need to worry about it. Do you want to go or should I? Mikoto said to Wu Yen with an excited expression. For this competitive girl, being able to fight was indeed something to be excited about. At first, she was afraid of demons, so she didn't show this excitement. Let me go. This wolf demon is not for you to fight. Putting down Shoujo, Wu Yen raised his sword and pointed it at the wolf demon. Even though Mikoto could take care of the big wolf demon in a matter of seconds, and even if Mikoto did manage to take it down, he would still gain experience. But, if he had to hand over a monster that he can handle himself to someone else, he doesn't think he's going to become a real strong person. Oh woo! At the same time that Wu Yen rushed towards the wolf demon also howled and rushed towards Wu Yen on all fours. Under Wu Yan's narrowed eyes, the wolf demon clawed down. In a hurry, Wu Yen raised his sword and blocked the wolf demon's claw attack. A huge force passed through the sword and sent Wu Yen flying. Wu Yan's body swayed and pressed his hand on the ground. Then with a push, he appeared in front of the wolf demon and stabbed his sword towards the wolf demon's eyeball. Ding! A hard feeling came. Wu Yan's sword stabbed the wolf demon's claw. Then, the wolf demon grabbed the sword in its hand. Wu Yan's face turned serious. With a twist of his hands, the sword spun rapidly. The friction between the sword and the wolf demon's claw created sparks. Ouch! The wolf demon cried out in pain and let go of Wu Yan's Kusanagi sword. Wu Yen held the sword in his hand again and kicked the wolf demon away. So strong. Yen. Shoujo muttered as she watched the battle nervously. Not bad. If I have time, I must fight him once. If Wu Yen knew that he was targeted by the violent cis cannon, what kind of expression would he have? After being kicked away by Wu Yen, the big wolf's green eyes turned a bit red. It howled in a frenzy and left a trail of afterimages as it appeared in front of Wu Yen and swiped at him with its claws. Raising his sword to block, he clenched his teeth and managed to stop his body that was almost sent flying again. The wolf demon was strong and fast. If not for his slower reaction, he would have lost. The veins on his arm bulged, indicating that Wu Yen had used 120% of his strength. Although Wu Yen stopped himself from flying, he was still weaker than the wolf demon. Wu Yan's body was constantly pushed back, leaving 2 marks on the ground. Wu Yen tightened his grip on the sword hilt and used all his strength to stop his body from retreating. He raised his head and looked at the wolf demon's ferocious face. The wolf demon's saliva almost dripped onto his body. Wu Yan's eyes shot out a cold glare. I can't win in terms of strength and speed. A protracted battle is disadvantageous for me. I'll finish it in one go. A circle of white light flashed on the blade of the Kusanagi sword. The surrounding atmosphere began to fluctuate. Wu Yen smiled and shouted. Chaotic returned to Horizon Dance. The white light turned into an arc, and the great chi turned into a sharp blade. The arc hit the wolf demon's body, creating a loud boom. Chapter 36. A woo! The arc-shaped chaotic return to horizon dance hit the big wolf demon's body. The big wolf demon let out a howl of pain, blood splattered everywhere. The arc-shaped sword pierced through the big wolf demon's body and took away one of its wolf claws. Ah! Seeing such a bloody scene, the two girls let out a scream at the same time. Before Shoujo met Wu Yan, she was just an ordinary student. Although it's not like she hasn't seen blood from killing chickens, fish, or sports injuries, but seeing such a bloody scene, Shoujo couldn't help but feel a little scared. As for Mikoto, although she was second only to the strongest in the magic forbidden world, she was like a flower in a greenhouse. She lived in the bright side of Academy City, and studied at Tokuwadai, where the milady studied. She really hasn't killed a chicken before. How could she stand such a bloody scene? Hearing Mikoto and Shoujo's screams, Wu Yan's face was expressionless. He once again swung his sword at the big wolf demon that lost an arm and howled in pain. Although he knew that the two girls behind him were definitely not calm, but to care for them, he had to wait until the battle was over. Otherwise, if he was careless and got hit, then it would be other people's turn to care for him. The sword cut a huge wound on the big wolf demon's body. Blood splashed out again, and the big wolf demon howled in pain again. A pair of wolf eyes stared at Wu Yan. Blood vessels began to fill the wolf demon's eyes. The big wolf demon angrily roared, opened its mouth, and bit towards Wu Yan's head. The distance between Wu Yan and the big wolf demon was less than 2 meters. Therefore, the big wolf demon's mouth quickly reached Wu Yan's face. In this moment of crisis, Wu Yan quickly lowered his head and avoided the big wolf demon's sharp teeth. Although the big wolf demon's attack was very sudden, Wu Yan had more than one encounter with wolves when he was in the behemoth forest. Their special characteristic is that the bigger the injury, the crazier they get. Even if he didn't know what kind of attack the wolf demon would use, Wu Yan was already prepared, so he should be able to deal with it. Lowering his head to avoid the big wolf demon's mouth, Wu Yan crouched under the big wolf demon's body, twisted his body, and turned in the air. Aiming at the big wolf demon's neck, Wu Yan raised his sword up. The long sword pierced the big wolf demon's skin, the big wolf demon's neck, and the sword blade came out from the back of the big wolf demon's neck. Time at this moment stopped. I won. Hinajuku shouted in surprise, as if she had won. She was no longer afraid of monsters or blood. Just like that, she cheered on the spot and laughed happily. Not bad at all. Mikoto clicked her tongue. Wu Yan and the big wolf demon's fight didn't intimidate someone of her level, but it's still something else. After all, the Mikoto of the past only fought with electric shock, electric shock, electric shock, electric shock. If not, she would just use her railgun to finish off her opponent. However, Wu Yan's fighting style may not be on her level, but he is fighting in a different style. When it comes to technique, Mikoto would resort to trickery and use a bit of iron sand to attack. Thus, this battle made Mikoto realize that fighting can be done this way. Mikoto's level may be high, but she might not even be able to defeat Fei Fei, who is 8 levels lower than her. Fei Fei came from the cruel world of Silveria, while Mikoto's strength was developed step by step through the use of technology. Fei Fei's combat experience was much higher than Mikoto's by a notch. Fei Fei's combat experience was much higher than Mikoto's. From this, it could be seen that Mikoto was still very malleable. She still had a lot of room for growth. Once she experienced a real battle, maybe her level wouldn't increase by a lot, but her strength would definitely undergo an earth-shattering change. Wu Yan kicked the big wolf demon's body and pulled out his sword. Because the wolf demon was under him, when it died, it fell on top of Wu Yan. Wu Yan can only brace himself to prevent the blood from staining his clothes. After pulling out the sword, Wu Yan handed over the big wolf demon's body to the system. Because there are no magic crystals, there are no ability points, only some item points. But it's better than nothing. Seeing the wolf demon's body disappear, Mikoto and Chuju's eyes flashed with a trace of surprise, but they quickly recovered. With the system, anything can happen, not to mention it's just a body disappearing, and it's not like Wu Yen disappeared. Are you okay? Sizing up Wu Yen, Chuju said as if nothing happened. She had already forgotten about the bloody scene. Mikoto was in a similar state. If it was a human, she might feel a little uncomfortable, but for this kind girl, even the most heinous crimes are forgivable. Otherwise, in the original work, when she saw her sister being tortured to death by Accelerator, she wouldn't have subconsciously diverted the railgun away from the opponent's vitals. Isn't that the embodiment of her kindness? But this time, it's not a human, it's a group of demons and ghosts. Although it's inevitable that she would be frightened when she saw the blood, compared to a human, the impact on her was not as great. This also made Wu Yen sigh. With this personality, if she were to meet a real enemy, she might get herself killed. But this is the real Sis-Canon, Wu Yen will not be dissatisfied. After all, Sis-Canon's enemy will be his enemy in the future. If she doesn't dare to take care of it, I'll take care of it. Wait for me to be a little stronger. It's okay. Wu Yen smiled and swung his Kanagi no Tsurugi sword to get rid of the blood on it. Seeing that the two girls didn't change their expressions, Wu Yen couldn't help but sigh in relief. If they can't even handle this situation, what will happen next? But it's okay. Just as Mikoto was about to say something, suddenly, Wu Yen and Mikoto both jumped in front of Chuju with a serious expression. What's wrong? Not knowing why the two suddenly did this, Chuju pulled on Mikoto's clothes and asked curiously. Wu Yen and Mikoto looked at each other and smiled bitterly. We're in big trouble. Suddenly, one after another, gigantic shadows appeared and streaked across the sky above the trio's heads. From afar, they could see a bunch of invisible figures moving towards them, leaving a trail of dust in their wake. Judging by their numbers, it seems like they're not small in number. What's going on? Looking at the crisscrossing shadows above, Chuju's eyes were a little dazed. These shadows are exactly the same as the ones left behind by the big wolf demon. Holding his Kanagi no Tsurugi sword, Wu Yen tensed up and forced a smile. It seems like we've entered a demon's lair. Mikoto rolled her eyes at Wu Yen and refuted. You're wrong, we came here to enter the demon's lair from the beginning. That's true. Wu Yen paused and then smiled bitterly. The shadows passed by, bringing along a gust of wind. The dust got closer and closer, causing the ground to shake. The three of them had different expressions on their faces as they looked at this scene. Finally, it's close, the dust settled, the shadows disappeared, and the enemy appeared, roaring. On Chuju's face, there was a smile, there was no fear or despair. In her eyes, Wu Yan's figure was reflected. Mikoto's body emitted a huge electric current. The current was stronger than any time before. Beep 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 sounds rang out continuously. Her bangs fluttered under the influence of the electric current. Her brown eyes stared straight ahead without fear. Fiercely waving the Kanagi no Tsurugi sword in his hand, the blade shone brightly and drew an arc in the air. Wu Yen held the sword with one hand, all of his expressions disappeared at this moment. His heart was as calm as an ancient well. The more dangerous the situation, the calmer he had to be. For victory, for survival, and for the girls behind him and beside him, in front of them, there were demons of different sizes, different appearances, different strengths, and different voices. Every pair of eyes had a bloodthirsty glint, their mouths were constantly opening and closing, the roars reverberated in the air without any pattern. That number, there are hundreds? Thousands of them? Or tens of thousands? Wu Yen, Mikoto, and Chuju didn't know, because the figures behind them were completely blocked by the figures in front. That terrifying formation is enough to scare any coward out of their wit. Chuju, Mikoto, are you scared? Wu Yen suddenly said to Chuju behind him and Mikoto beside him. The two girls were stunned for a moment, then they laughed at the same time. Cherry blossoms appeared out of thin air around Chuju and gathered in Chuju's hand, slowly forming into a crystal katana. Shoujo held the white cherry blossoms and smiled, a beautiful smile. It's really strange. I should be very scared, but why don't I feel scared at all now? The sand rolled, small black particles flew out from the rock layer and gathered in the air around Mikoto, forming a wave of iron sand. Mikoto stood in the middle and smiled. Her smile was full of heroic spirit. Who do you think I am? I'm number 3, Super Railgun. Listening to the two girls, Wu Yen shook his head. His face was full of helplessness, but in his heart there was a surge of warmth. Wu Yen took a step back, under the doubtful eyes of Mikoto and Shoujo. He pointed in the air a few times. Then 2 bottles of medicine and a few beans appeared in Wu Yan's hand. He shoved the 2 bottles into the hands of the 2 girls. Shoujo, Mikoto, 1 bottle for each of you and drink it. Holding the bottle in their hands, Hinajuku and Mikoto couldn't help but stare blankly at the golden liquid in their hands. What's this thing? This thing is called Resplendent Breath. It's a life-saving item. Just 1 bottle and your body will be in an invulnerable state for 3 hours, so hurry up and drink it. Invulnerable for 3 hours. The 2 girls looked at the bottle in shock. Isn't this invulnerable in disguise? Daisy, on the other hand, noticed another problem. We'll drink it, what about you, Yen? Why aren't you drinking it? Shoujo's eyes kept darting around Wu Yan's body, but she couldn't find a 3rd bottle of medicine on Wu Yan's body. At this moment, Shoujo was anxious. Wu Yen couldn't help but smile bitterly. Resplendent Breath costs 100,000 item points per bottle. All my item points are only slightly more than 260,000. I don't even have enough item points to exchange for a 3rd bottle of Resplendent Breath. How can that be? Then what are you going to do? Hearing Wu Yan's words, Shoujo was even more anxious. Before Shoujo could object, Wu Yan stopped her. All right, hurry up and drink it, they're about to attack. Seeing that the demon army was about to attack, Wu Yan quickly shouted. At the same time, he quickly came in front of the 2 girls and raised the sword in his hand. Yen, you should be the one drinking this medicine. As long as you don't die, I can revive even if I die. Mikoto was starting to panic. Now that only Wu Yen wasn't safe, how could she be at ease? Wu Yen smiled. He didn't turn his head, but his firm voice rang clearly in the 2 girls' ears. Mikoto, although it's more appropriate for me to drink it, Mikoto, you have to know that other than being your summoner, I'm also a man. As a man, how can I not protect a woman from the wind and rain? Chapter 37. As a man, how can I not protect a woman from the wind and rain? His firm and serious words echoed in Mikoto's ears. Mikoto stared blankly at Wu Yen, who had his back facing her. Her grip on the potion bottle tightened unconsciously. Yen. Shoujo's voice sounded like she was about to cry. Shoujo's heart was heavy with regret. If she didn't insist on following him, she wouldn't have wasted a bottle of life-saving potion. If I hurt Yen because of this, then don't worry, Shoujo. Although he didn't see Shoujo's face, Wu Yen didn't know why, but he felt like he could hear Shoujo's heart. Although I don't have the Resplendent Breath, I have another life-saving item. It's called Senzubin. No matter how heavy the injury, as long as I'm not dead, I can recover in an instant. So, don't worry about me. Wu Yen said with a smile as he tossed the green beans in his hand. These senzu beans weren't cheap. 10,000 item points for 1 bean. Wu Yen exchanged for 6 of them in one go. Adding on the 100,000 item points for a bottle of Resplendent Breath, Wu Yen had spent a total of 260,000 of his 268,000 item points. The remaining 8,000 was exchanged for the wolf demon's body. Also, I still have a lot of things to tell you, a lot of things to do with you. So, I won't die like this. Shoujo stared at Wu Yen. She opened the bottle and poured the golden liquid into her mouth. Wiping her lips, Shoujo said, Yen, if you dare lie to me, you're dead meat. Wu Yen couldn't help but smile bitterly. Can you not talk about death at this time? Yen, are you really not going to drink it? Now is not the time to let your emotions affect your decisions. Mikoto lowered her head and said in a weak voice. Although she said that, she didn't have much hope. Even though she's only known Wu Yen for a day, Mikoto already has a certain understanding of Wu Yen. Not only because of the information given to her by the system, but also because of the short time they've spent together. Based on his personality, he might not be lying. Now was not the time to lie. Hurry up, Mikoto, they're coming. Wu Yen ignored Mikoto's words and shouted at her. At the same time, the huge army of demons finally lost their patience. With deafening roars, demons of various sizes immediately charged over. Like a swarm of locusts passing through, the demons left huge marks on the ground as they charged. Gravel flew all over the sky as dust was swept up. The ground shook violently as though it was a volcanic eruption. Looking at this terrifying scene, Wu Yen and the other two's hearts couldn't help but tremble. Their hearts started to beat faster. However, this didn't mean that Wu Yen and the rest were afraid. The situation was on the verge of eruption. Mikoto didn't have the chance to persuade them. Gritting her teeth, Mikoto pulled open the bottle cap and poured it down her throat as if it could vent her anger. Then she shouted, "Listen, if you die and drag me down then I'll be your slave in my next life." Wu Yen shouted. Holding his sword with both hands, he stomped his foot and his body quickly flew out. At the same time, the iron sand around Mikoto started to roll faster. Under Mikoto's control, it turned into iron sand whips and flew towards the demons. Shoujo took a deep breath, raised her white cherry and followed behind Wu Yen towards the army of demons, cutting an oncoming level 20 rat demon in half. Wu Yen ignored the blood splattering on his body. His eyes emitted a deadly cold light as he swung his Kusanagi sword. One demon after another fell under Wu Yen's body. As Wu Yen pushed forward, corpses were everywhere. Demons' corpses were thrown all over the ground like sacks. Blood was like water, forming a bloody path on the ground. Demons from all directions surrounded Wu Yen, trying to surround him. Wu Yen jumped, the Kusanagi sword in his hand glowing. Wu Yen looked at his surroundings and spun. Chaotic returned to horizon dance. The arc-shaped blade formed a circle. As Wu Yen spun, it spread to the surrounding. The demons that surrounded him collided with the circle. They were either cut in half or shredded into pieces. Some were even crushed into powder. Hinagiku pierced a demon's heart with her white cherry blossom, causing blood to splatter everywhere. Hinagiku suppressed her trembling body and the fear in her heart, biting her lips so hard that she didn't even know when her lips were bitten open. Shoujo knew that she was very weak. Any one of these demons was stronger than her. If it was before, she would have died under the claws of the demons. However, due to the protection of resplendent breath, whenever a demon attacked her, an invisible wave would bounce out from the attacked area and nullify the demon's attack. Relying on her invincibility, Hinagiku risked her life to slay any demon that failed to attack her. Over time, Shoujo gave up on defense and focused on attacking. If she couldn't defeat a powerful demon, she would immediately give up and change her target. As for the weaker ones, they would be killed by her. In a short period of time, the number of demons that died under Shoujo's hands was at least a few dozen. They're not humans, they're just demons. They're not humans, they're just demons. Mikoto kept repeating this sentence. She controlled the iron sand whip to kill the demons that attacked her. Every time blood splashed, Mikoto's face would turn a shade paler. At this point, Mikoto's face was as white as paper. The iron sand whip danced in the air. Every time it danced, a demon would fall. Mikoto didn't charge forward like Wu Yen and Shoujo. She just stood there and used her abilities. But not only did she kill the most demons, she was also the strongest. Mikoto knew that Wu Yen was only level 30. In this group of demons, at least half of them were level 30 and above. Without the protection of resplendent breath, Wu Yen might not even have the time to eat senzu beans if he ran into a few more level 30 demons. Not to mention, Shoujo was only level 18. Even though she drank resplendent breath, that didn't stop Mikoto from wanting to help them. And so, Mikoto controlled her iron sand whip and circled all the level 30 and above demons. Even though she couldn't use the system to exchange items like Wu Yen, she could use the system's detection function. She could clearly see who was level 30 and who wasn't. Putting aside whether or not she missed anything, 90% of the demons were taken by Mikoto. It was because of Mikoto that Wu Yen could charge forward and kill the demons so easily. Two kind-hearted girls, for themselves and their companions, were suppressing their fear of blood and slaughter. They were swinging their blades and killing the demons, after using chaotic return to horizon waltz again and sending a bunch of demons to the afterlife. Wu Yen freed up his hands and swallowed a senzu bean with great difficulty to restore his body to full health. The battle had been going on for quite some time. Mikoto and Shoujo had resplendent breath protecting them, so Wu Yen didn't have to worry about them. That was why Wu Yen put all his focus on killing the demons. His clothes were already dyed in all sorts of colors. There were red, black, green, blue, and everything else. This was the blood of the demons he killed. Every single one of them. Of course, part of it was his own blood. Wu Yen, who had been using the system's detection function since the beginning, naturally knew that Mikoto had taken care of most of the level 30 demons. That was why he was able to fight until now. He couldn't help but consume a senzu bean due to his exhaustion and injuries. Mikoto may have blocked most of the level 30 Auma, but the ones Wu Yen is facing are at least level 20. Facing so many level 20 Auma, even Mikoto has to rely on resplendent breath to protect herself. After all, a quantitative change can lead to a qualitative change. Once the numbers reach a certain point, even a level 86 would have a hard time dealing with them, let alone a level 68. Even though the demons weren't strong enough to threaten a level 86, they could still threaten a level 68. If Mikoto wanted to run, she could definitely do so. However, it was impossible for her to leave Wu Yen and Shoujo behind. Wu Yen remembered everything that Mikoto had done and continued to wield his Kusanagi sword to kill the demons. Gradually, as time passed, the number of demons dwindled. Wu Yan's senzu beans dwindled as well. Until now, there was only one left. The pain in his body and the exhaustion in his mind kept telling Wu Yen to fall. Wu Yen used all his strength to kill the incoming demons. However, he couldn't care less about the demons that were attacking him from behind. His back, chest, thighs, arms, face, there wasn't a single spot on Wu Yan's body that wasn't injured. However, there was only one senzu bean left. Therefore, Wu Yen really didn't want to use it until the very last moment. Because if he used it, it would mean that he was at the end of his rope. Against such a large number of enemies, if he didn't exchange for the super strong equipment, then the effect would be similar to the Kusanagi sword. However, he didn't have enough equipment points to exchange for the super strong equipment. As for the ability, what should he exchange for? A group attack? He already had the chaotic return to Horizon Dance. There was no need to exchange for a single target. That was even more unnecessary. As for the ability to turn the situation around, he had the same problem. He didn't have enough points. As for the character summon, he could summon it with 11,000 points. However, how strong could the character summon be? Even Mikoto had to rely on the resplendent breath. Otherwise, she would have a few scars on her body, let alone the others. Just as Wu Yen was about to use the last senzu bean, a wide net of electricity came from afar and turned the demons behind Wu Yen into charcoal. As the electricity disappeared, a crystal sword appeared beside Wu Yen and cut down the demons that were about to pounce on Wu Yen. Wu Yen raised his head and looked at the two figures in front of him in a daze. The one standing on the left was a pink-haired girl with a crystal sword in her hand. The one standing on the right was a tea-haired girl with blue electric arcs flowing all over her body and making crackling noises. Although he could only see the side of their faces, Wu Yen could clearly see the fear of unknown creatures and bloodshed in their eyes. Even with this emotion, the two girls stood there unwaveringly and killed the demons that attacked them. A smile appeared on his bloodied face. After swallowing the senzabine, Wu Yen stood up and walked to the two girls to fight side by side. Chapter 38. 3 hours. That's the duration of resplendent breath. At this time, almost an hour had already passed. The two valiant-looking girls have lost their protection for almost an hour now. Their clothes are riddled with holes and their faces are stained with blood. It's unavoidable that there are some wounds on their bodies. Even Mikoto has some minor injuries under the continuous barrage of attacks. Fortunately, the stronger demons were the focus of the trio at the beginning. What's even more fortunate was that there weren't any demons above level 40. At most, there were 10 level 40 demons, and these 10 level 40 demons were killed by Mikoto at the beginning of the battle. So when the effect of resplendent breath ends, there aren't many level 30 demons left in the huge demon army. If it wasn't for Mikoto having to protect Shoujo, these little demons wouldn't have been able to do any damage to her. Wu Yen, on the other hand, is very thankful. After using up all the senzabines, Wu Yen has completely lost his protection. If it wasn't for Mikoto killing most of the demons and giving him a lot of EXP which allowed him to level up and recover to full health, Wu Yen might have really lost his life here. A completely unfair battle, after 4 hours of uninterrupted fighting, came to an end just like that. When the last demon was electrocuted by Mikoto's taser gun, Wu Yen, Mikoto, and Shoujo were still panting while maintaining their attacking posture. They stood there motionless as they stared blankly at the ground full of demon corpses. After who knows how long, they finally recovered from their daze. Mikoto and Shoujo looked around at their surroundings. Looking at the ground full of broken limbs and blood, they squatted on the ground and vomited non-stop. Wu Yan's face is abnormally pale. Even if it's him, when he saw the hellish scene, he couldn't help but feel uncomfortable. It's like there's a bunch of worms crawling around inside his heart. Suppressing the urge to vomit, he quickly patted the two girls on the back in an attempt to make them feel better. Yen. Shoujo's eyes were filled with tears. Her face was as pale as Wu Yan's. For some reason, Shoujo felt cold all over and wanted to seek some warmth. After feeling Wu Yan's presence, Shoujo immediately squeezed into Wu Yan's embrace and hugged Wu Yan tightly. She didn't even dare to raise her head. It's okay, it's all in the past. Feeling Shoujo's body trembling, Wu Yan hugged her and patted her back to comfort her. Suddenly, Wu Yan felt his clothes tighten. When he turned to look, Mikoto was also trembling. Her face was pale as she looked at him. She looked like a little girl who was afraid of her mother leaving the house. Her expression was indescribably desolate. After being stunned for a moment, Wu Yan immediately reached out and pulled her into his embrace. He hugged her tightly to comfort the two girls and himself. Before this, these two girls were just ordinary students. Even Wu Yan, who lived in the behemoth forest, couldn't help but tremble when he saw this scene, let alone these two girls. Not to mention, they were the ones who caused this scene, when they were fighting, they didn't have the time to think about it. Now that the battle is over, the two kind-hearted girls almost collapsed when they thought about how their hands were stained with blood. On the spacious field, in the middle of countless corpses, a boy and two girls are hugging each other. It's a very sad scene. After half a day, Wu Yan felt the two girls in his embrace calm down. He looked down and saw two sleeping faces covered in blood. At this moment, Wu Yan was confused. Is this my fault? If it wasn't for me, this wouldn't have happened. I casually barged into their lives, changed their lives, stained their hands with blood. This is all my fault. Meeting them, summoning them, is this the right thing to do? Shaking his head, Wu Yan buried this question deep in his heart. He placed the two girls on the ground and looked at the monster corpses. If it weren't for resplendent breath and senzabine, the three of them would have suffered casualties. Just Hinajuku alone, Wu Yan doesn't have the confidence to protect her from such a large army. Maybe even Mikoto can only protect herself. From this, it can be seen how important item points are. For this battle, Wu Yan used up almost all of his item points. If something else were to happen, he would be in big trouble. Fortunately, the corpses of monsters could also be turned into organic materials and handed over to the system in exchange for item points. Even the level 30 big wolf monster could be exchanged for 8,000 item points. How many item points could this floor of corpses be exchanged for? There were hundreds of level 30 little monsters and 10 level 40 little monsters. The rest were all level 20 little monsters. Even if there were not thousands of them, there were definitely more than level 30 little monsters. Thinking about the large amount of item points he'll get, Wu Yan's pale face turned red. What a practical guy! Wu Yan waved his hand and the hundreds of meters of corpses disappeared. Wu Yan turned them over to the system. Ding! Obtained 832,2000 item points. 8 million item points. Awesome! Looking at the large amount of item points, Wu Yan's face finally showed a smile. If it wasn't for the fact that he just went through a slaughter and his mood was a little heavy, Wu Yan would be jumping for joy. 832,2000 item points plus the 8,000 item points he had on him made up for a total of 833,000 item points. The item points he squandered were all recovered in an instant. In fact, they were multiplied by more than 10 times. From this huge amount of item points, one could see the scale of the monster army just now. One had to know that a level 30 big wolf demon only cost 8,000 item points. If it wasn't for the fact that Wu Yan didn't have to turn them over one by one, Wu Yan's hands would probably go soft from exchanging item points. The scene became spacious again, and all the corpses disappeared. It was as if nothing had happened. If it wasn't for the blood on the ground telling others that there was a cruel battle here. Wu Yan carried the two girls to the wall and let them lean against it. Then he kissed Shoujo's forehead. After hesitating, he kissed Mikoto's forehead before standing up. Looking at the clothes on his body in disgust, he tore off the red and green clothes on his body and threw them to the side. He didn't even leave the pants behind as he tossed them away. Wu Yan frowned. Although he threw away his clothes, there were still bloodstains on his body. Some of his wounds were still bleeding. During the battle, he didn't feel anything, but now Wu Yan only felt pain, accompanied by the smell of blood. Opening the system list, he used 9,000 item points to exchange for 3,000 item points for 3 bottles of quick healing potion. Wu Yan immediately drank one of them. After waiting for a while, the wounds on his body slowly healed at a speed visible to the naked eye. Moreover, the healing speed was getting faster and faster. In the end, all the wounds disappeared. Seeing this, Wu Yan smiled. Then he fed the other 2 bottles of quick healing potion to Mikoto and Shoujo. Thinking for a bit, Wu Yan walked to the side and exchanged for a gemstone that glowed with water. Portable hot spring, normally in the form of a gem. If thrown on the ground, it will quickly expand into a 5-meter hot spring. Can be recycled at any time. Has automatic water purification function. 20,000 item points. Satisfied with the gem in his hand, Wu Yan threw it on the ground. Like a stone falling into water, the gem melted into the ground, and a circle of ripples appeared on the ground. When the ripples expanded to 5 meters wide, the ripples turned into a circle, and inside the circle, the ground disappeared, turning into a hot spring that was emitting steam. Wu Yan's eyes flashed with a strange color. How magical! After doing all this, Wu Yan chuckled and looked at the 2 girls who were still sleeping. Suddenly, the smile on his face widened a bit. Wu Yan walked to the 2 girls with small step. He nodded and said seriously, "Mikoto, Shoujo, look, you're covered in blood. You must feel uncomfortable like me. It's okay, leave it to me. I'll definitely wash you clean, okay?" After muttering to himself to Mikoto and Shoujo, Wu Yan immediately said, "Why aren't you answering? Are you shy? It's okay, I understand. Since you're not answering, I'll take it as a yes." As if it's true, Wu Yan smiled. His smile was very sly. Then, He reached out his evil hands and slowly took off the two girls' clothes. His mouth kept muttering. If you look closely, you'll see that he's saying, "I won't be polite anymore." Poor Mikoto and Shoujo. They just experienced a cruel psychological impact. Before they could wake up, they were already stripped naked by a certain wolf. After taking off all their clothes, the pure white body that appeared in front of him almost blinded his wolf eyes. He stared at the bodies of the two girls, and after a few fierce glances, he stood up, picked up Hinajuku and walked to the edge of the hot spring. With a splash, he walked in. His wolf claws kept touching Chuju's body. Wu Yan's face had a beep smile. His heart was very happy. When his hand reached Chuju's chest, Wu Yan sighed regretfully. Still needs to be developed. After groping around for a bit, he reluctantly put down the 2 meat buns and moved to another location to continue the siege. A certain part of his body is already so shamefully hard that it can't be helped. Looking at the delicate body in his arms, then looking at Chuju's tightly shut eyes, Wu Yan sighed again and carried her to the shore. Who told me to be a pure person? I never take advantage of people when they're in danger. This is the thought of a certain wolf who stripped and touched a sleeping girl. After changing into a set of clean clothes and putting it on Chuju, Wu Yan put Chuju back in her original position. Then, he carried the naked Mikoto and walked into the hot spring. Her body was not much different from Chuju's, but Wu Yan really enjoyed it. After cleaning off the blood on Mikoto's body, Wu Yan didn't stop. He continued with a new round of oil collecting battle. After touching the girl's body from head to toe, Wu Yan started to regret. He realized that he shouldn't have taken advantage of these two girls. It's not that he found his conscience or anything, but as he washed, Wu Yan started to feel uncomfortable. But these two proud girls, he absolutely couldn't take advantage of them. Taking advantage of them is fine, but if he ate them in their sleep, would Wu Yan die a horrible death? Even a child could guess the answer. After changing into another set of clothes and helping Mikoto put it on, he dived into the water with a plop. Lying in the hot spring, Wu Yan couldn't help but cry. Why not cold water? Chapter 39. When Wu Yan's hand touched a certain part of the hot spring, it quickly shrunk and turned back into a gem, lying quietly in Wu Yan's hand. Tossing the portable hot spring into the SPAC ring, Wu Yan sat down on the spot. He picked up a few random rocks and gathered them together. Then, he took out a black circle from the SPAC ring. Wu Yan placed the circle on the stones. Wu Yan fiddled with the circle for some unknown reason. When Wu Yan was done fiddling with the circle, a fire suddenly lit up from the center of the circle. Wu Yan ignored all of this. He took out a few bottles and jars from the space ring and put them aside. Then he took out a few pieces of meat and a metal handle. He put the metal handle on the meat and put it on the fire to roast. From time to time, he would pick up the bottles and jars beside him and sprinkle them on the meat. Wu Yan roasted the meat in an orderly manner as he opened the system's status option. Character: Wu Yan abilities. Swordsmanship expert, cooking expert, complete memory, chaotic return to horizon dance equipment, Kusanagi sword, rank D, summon, Misaka Mikoto equipment points, 51,000 item points, 83,000,000 ability points, 81,000 summoning points, 11,000 level, 45. When he saw his own level, Wu Yan couldn't help but be stunned. Then he felt relieved. Wu Yan is a bit surprised to see that he has gained 15 levels in such a short time. But, after thinking about it, it's not that strange. That terrifying monster army was completely wiped out by the 3 of them. With such a terrifying amount of monsters, there were even 10 level 40 monsters and a few hundred level 30+ monsters. It's reasonable that they could level up to this level. What's more, monsters above level 20 came in heat. This could be seen from the 830,000 item points that Wu Yan had left after purchasing the portable hot spring, quick healing potions, and clothes. Although level 20 little monsters could not provide Wu Yan with much EXP, and some of them were killed by Shoujo, the number was still terrifying. Shoujo was only level 18. How many little monsters could she kill? Therefore, they couldn't handle the large quantity. Now that he thought about it, even though he had the cheat that allowed him to level up through battle, after killing so many monsters, he only leveled up by 1 rank according to the Spalier World's calculation system. What a disgrace to the transmigrators. Mikoto's status didn't change much under Wu Yan's status, but character, Misaka Mikoto ability, electroshock user, LV5, strength, C endurance, C agility, B spirit, A equipment, none level, 69 compared to his previous status there wasn't much change. He only leveled up by 1. But this 1 level was not easy to level up. After all, Mikoto couldn't be compared to himself. Among the little monster army, there were a lot of monsters that were higher level than him when he was still level 30. Their EXP to Wu Yan was like fighting above his level. Of course he gained a lot of EXP, that's why he leveled up so many times. However, there wasn't a single monster that was higher level than Mikoto. The highest level monster was only level 40. Compared to Mikoto, it was much weaker. The amount of EXP Mikoto gained was very little. Even so, the amount of EXP Mikoto gained was still enough to pull him up a level. It wasn't easy. Wu Yan closed the system and began to ponder. Now that I'm level 45, I'm equivalent to a medium tier 5 warrior. It's about time for me to upgrade my equipment and abilities, and a sound woke Wu Yan from his thoughts. Wu Yan turned his head and couldn't help but smile. Her eyelids fluttered a few times before she opened her eyes. She covered her mouth with her hand and yawned. Only then did she wake up completely. When she woke up, the first thing she saw was Wu Yan grinning at her while roasting some unknown meat in front of a bonfire that she didn't know when he started. "You're awake." Wu Yan waved at Mikoto with his empty hand. His other hand was still twirling the metal handle in his hand. It seems that distracting his attention won't affect his cooking. Mikoto was shocked. She quickly got up and looked around. When she saw that the corpses on the ground had disappeared, she let out a sigh of relief. If she really had to sleep next to a corpse, even if it wasn't a human corpse, she wouldn't be able to bear it. Every time she thought of that bloody scene, Mikoto quickly shook her head. Even though she's feeling a lot better now, she still felt a bit uneasy in her heart. Wu Yan, who was watching Mikoto from start to finish, couldn't help but sigh. Of course he knew that Mikoto still hasn't completely accepted the fact that her hands were stained with blood. Even if she was prepared. Rolling his eyes, Wu Yan suddenly laughed out of the blue. He laughed out of the blue. Hearing Wu Yan's strange laughter, Mikoto frowned. She didn't know why, but she suddenly felt a wave of unhappiness. Even her other emotions were completely suppressed by this unhappiness. "Why are you laughing so hard?" Mikoto glared at Wu Yan. "Nope." Wu Yan stopped laughing, but he didn't stop smiling. That hippopotamus face of his only made Mikoto even more annoyed. Beep 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 beep, a burst of electric sound started, indicating that the owner is very unhappy and the consequences are very serious. Wu Yan's expression stiffened. He timidly glanced at the electric current on Mikoto's body. In the end, he steeled his heart and looked at Mikoto without moving his eyes. His expression changed again, into an expression of reminiscence. Wu Yan's wretched expression finally made Mikoto realize that something was wrong. She looked at herself and instantly her eyes widened. Her eyes were blank and her mouth was wide open. She didn't even release the electric current. Snow-white short-sleeved shirt and an ordinary gray skirt. It was a very ordinary and simple outfit. But it was this outfit that made Mikoto's expression look like she's seen a ghost. My clothes were changed. Mikoto now understood what happened. But it wasn't her who changed the clothes and Shoujo was still sleeping. So, there's only one answer. Why? Mikoto's face was blank. She turned to Wu Yan and her mouth opened and closed. As for why she asked why, it's just that she didn't want to face reality. After seeing the effect he wanted, Wu Yan's smile became even more brilliant. What why? Her hands slowly pressed on her body like a machine. Mikoto crossed her arms and said blankly, My clothes! Wu Yan stretched out his hand and waved his finger in front of his face. Is there even a need to say it? It's covered in blood. Of course it had to be changed. Beep. The electric arcs that were jumping around restlessly showed that Mikoto's heart wasn't calm at all. She forced a smile on her face and asked, Then, who was it that changed my clothes? Did you change it when Hinagiku woke up? Mikoto's hopeful eyes stared at him, making him feel a lot of pressure. He's already regretting using such a method to distract Mikoto's attention. Wu Yan stopped smiling. After taking a deep breath, he said confidently, How is that possible? In this world, only I'm so considerate. So be grateful to me. Mikoto's face became hotter and hotter. At an unimaginable speed, the temperature on her face broke through the limit. Finally, with a bang, a cloud of smoke came out from her head. Her mind went blank. Mikoto's head started shaking uncontrollably from left to right, up and down. Wasn't this reaction a little too exaggerated? Wu Yan's mouth twitched as he watched Mikoto's eyes turn into circles. Her face was red as she shook her head. She's so pure. While Wu Yan was feeling proud, Mikoto suddenly stopped. She lowered her head with a gloomy expression. Beep beep beep. A blue light suddenly burst out. Electric arcs crazily flashed on Mikoto's body. With a wicked smile, Mikoto looked at Wu Yan. A chill ran from Wu Yan's spine to his head. Wu Yan's body couldn't help but shiver. Looking at Mikoto, who slowly stood up like a thunder god, a big drop of cold sweat slid down Wu Yan's head. Revealing a smile uglier than crying, Wu Yan swallowed a mouthful of saliva. Cold, calm down. Mikoto, calm down. A devilish voice came out from Mikoto's mouth. What last wish do you have? Tell me. Although I don't know if I'll remember it, but if one day I happen to remember it, I'll consider fulfilling it for you. Ha 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 ha. Wu Yan laughed dryly at Mikoto. Don't joke around, Mikoto. You see, I'm doing this for your own good. You're a girl, you should be clean. It's not a big deal. It's not a big deal. Mikoto's voice rose a little, but it didn't make Wu Yan happy. Instead, it made him feel even more despair. So that's how it is. To you, it's not a big deal. If that's the case. Blushing, Mikoto glared at Wu Yan and shouted, No need for last words, you, Mikoto. If I die, you'll die too. Wu Yan let out his last cry. Die! Beep beep beep. Ah! As soon as Hinagiku woke up, she was startled by the terrible sound, thinking it was a demon attacking. She jumped up and summoned Sakura in her hand, looking ahead vigilantly. When she saw the situation clearly, her vigilant expression froze. Mikoto's face was blood red, smoke was coming out of her head from time to time. She crossed her arms in front of her chest and stared fiercely at the mess on the ground. On the ground, Wu Yan was lying there. Unlike Mikoto's red face, his face was black and so was his body. Smoke was coming out of his mouth and he kept spitting it out. What's going on? Shoujo looked at the crime scene in shock. She couldn't react at all. Mikoto looked at Shoujo, who was still in shock. Tears welled up in her eyes, she covered her face and lowered her head. How was she supposed to say this? Scratching her head in confusion, Shoujo looked at Mikoto, who was blushing to the point that smoke was coming out of her face. She felt a little strange, but she couldn't figure out what was so strange about it. Rolling her eyes helplessly, Shoujo walked towards the two. But as soon as she took a step, Shoujo froze. Why did she feel a little cold down there? Reaching out her hand, Shoujo froze. She could feel that the underwear she was wearing was different from before. The edge of the underwear that reached her legs was slanted, and it was quite slanted. Her underwear was gone, combined with Mikoto's performance and Wu Yan's pitiful state, coupled with her slightly fresh body and wet hair, as well as the fact that she's wearing the same outfit as Mikoto's. A bad idea formed in her mind. Shoujo's face started to turn red. Looking at Mikoto, Shoujo whispered, Mikoto, could it be that our clothes and the blood on our bodies are? Hearing Chuju's voice, Mikoto didn't put down her hand. Instead, she opened her fingers, revealing two watery eyes. Looking at Wu Yen on the ground, she wanted to cry but no tears came out. She nodded her head. After Mikoto nodded, Chuju's face turned even redder than her hair. Her heart was burning with anger. She strode in front of Wu Yen and gave him a vicious slap. Slap! Chapter 40. It's probably night time. As for why I added probably, it needs to be explained. Because in the cave, Wu Yen and the other two couldn't accurately judge the time, and they couldn't bring their phones with them. So, I added probably. It's still the same fire, the same barbecued meat, and Wu Yen is still roasting it. The only difference is that this time, Wu Yen has a red palm print on his left cheek, and his skin is a bit darker. The two girls are now awake, sitting next to the fire. Their faces are red, and they're glaring at Wu Yen. After roasting the meat, Wu Yen lifted the meat in his hand and handed it to Mikoto and Chuju. Take it. Ouch. Halfway through, Wu Yen felt the red palm print on his face burning with pain. His mouth twitching, Wu Yen wanted to cry but no tears came out. Even though he knew that the two girls would teach him a lesson when they wake up, he didn't expect the lesson to be so deep. It can only be said that the lack of awareness before transmigrating killed him. Because in Wu Yan's subconscious mind, even if he saw the two girls naked, they can't do anything to him, right? Could it be that he could be so ruthless? Unfortunately, he had already forgotten that this is no longer the harmonious society that he once lived in. The girls from the 2D world are not the kind of people who would show mercy to others, but Wu Yen can be proud that he saw the two girls naked. Mikoto glared at Wu Yen fiercely before taking the barbecued meat from Wu Yan's hand. Wu Yen laughed foolishly and handed it to Chuju. She snatched it, snorted, and threw it to the back of his head. Clapping his hands in dissatisfaction, Wu Yen mumbled, "What? It's not like I haven't seen it before." Blushing again, Chuju immediately turned her head, gritted her teeth and glared at Wu Yen. She wanted to eat him alive. Shrinking his head, Wu Yen quickly raised his hands, indicating that he surrendered. When Chuju no longer wanted to look at him, Wu Yen let out a sigh of relief. At the same time, he was even more determined in his heart. Next time, he would definitely summon a soft girl. At the same time, Mikoto, who was sitting there chewing on a piece of barbecued meat, couldn't help but look at the meat in her hand with surprise. This is a little too delicious. The eyes of a certain super electromagnetic gun, who had never eaten Wu Yan's dishes, immediately lit up. She chewed even faster. As for the previous uncoordinated feeling, it was thrown to the back of her mind. As for why there was a feeling of disharmony, it was very simple. It was because the super electromagnetic gun's underwear, which was the safety pants, had been thrown away by Wu Yen, just like Chuju. Although the fact that they like to wear safety pants is their cute point, compared to the cute underwear, this point can be discarded. Moreover, Mikoto and Chuju already have a lot of cute points on them. Chuju's situation was similar to Mikoto's. Although she had already tried Wu Yan's dishes, she still couldn't stop herself from eating them every time. Well, who told these two girls to not get fat no matter how much they eat? Let them be. Helplessly shaking his head, Wu Yen finished the barbecued meat in a few bites. After filling his stomach, Wu Yen opened the system list and clicked on the equipment option. As of now, Wu Yen is already level 45, which is the 5th step of the Spalier world. Although the Kusanagi sword has only accompanied him for 4 months, it's time to change it. The current Kusanagi sword can no longer keep up with Wu Yan's need. If Wu Yan's idea was heard by the warriors in the Spalier world, they would definitely spit at him to death. One must know that common armaments are the dream equipment of warriors and mages below the 7th step. Armaments are extremely precious in the Spalier world. Even the lowest common armaments can only be worn by warriors or mages with good conditions. There are 2 reasons for good conditions. one is family background, and the other is strength. Having a good family background is easy to understand. If you have a good father, and your father is very rich, he will naturally prepare a common armament for you. Of course, it has to be a big family. Even if it's not at the level of a lorry family, it has to be at least a big family in the area. Having good strength is even easier to understand. With strength, do you have to be afraid of not having enough money? Go into the giant beasts forest and hunt high-level demonic beasts for 10 days to half a month. The money you can get from that would be enough to buy a mass armament. As for how strong you need to be, it's not much different from Wu Yan's current strength, around Tier 5. A Tier 5 warrior or magician would only be able to equip a common armament at this point in time. Yet Wu Yan thinks that common armaments can't keep up with his needs? How can those warriors and mages below the 5th step, who don't have a good family background and who still have iron armaments, endure this? Well, with the system, this heaven-defying thing, Wu Yan can be considered to have a good family background, so he can't be counted. And now Wu Yan wants to change his equipment. Naturally, he won't be interested in common armaments anymore. What he wants to change is a C-rank equipment, which is a rare armament. In the Spalier world, rare armaments can only be worn by those above the 7th step. Also, only those with good family background can have one, such as Feifei. Of course, people like Lulu are the real good family background. She is only at the 4th step and she already has a rare armament. But she is the only daughter of the first family of the Ailu Empire, one of the 3 big empires. If you compare yourself to her, you will only be angered to death. Some of the poorer 7th step warriors and mages may not even have a rare armament. This is the main reason why Wu Yan didn't exchange for a rare armament in the Spalier world, even though he had enough equipment points. In the Spalier world, robbing people and robbing the rich to help the poor is not illegal, but now it's different. Even though he is only at the 5th step and can't compare to a 7th step, he has Mikoto, who is at the peak of the 7th step. What is there to be afraid of? As for those 8th and 8th step warriors and mages, if they don't have a rare armament, they will be looked down upon by others. As for the 9th step, there is no need to worry. They will also look down on you with 1 or 2 rare armaments. At this level, who doesn't have a family background? 9th step warriors use gold armaments. Moreover, the 9th step is a rare existence. Wu Yan doesn't even know if he can meet one. Even if Wu Yan heard about it, he only heard from Feifei that the previous head of her family, which is Lulu's grandfather, was a 9th step warrior. The number 1 family in an empire only has 1 Tier 9 fighter. Even though he doesn't know how many Tier 9 fighters there are in Silveria, there are less than 5 Tier 10 demigods in Silveria. How many Tier 9 fighters could there be in Silveria that are a tier lower than a Tier 9 fighter? So, now is the time to exchange for a rare armament. Even Lulu, that half-natural girl, has a rare armament. If he doesn't have one, wouldn't that be embarrassing? Under the watchful eyes of the 2 girls who are munching on their food, Wu Yan flipped through his system inventory and started looking for equipment. D-tier equipment is automatically ignored since he doesn't need them anymore. He's mainly looking for C-tier equipment. As for B-tier equipment, he's embarrassingly short on funds. With Kendo Mastery and Chaotic Return to Horizon Dance, Wu Yan naturally looked for sword-type equipment. Katanas like the Kusanagi sword are also included. After looking for a few times, Wu Yan's eyes lit up and stared at one of the equipment. Shana of the Nippon Den, C-grade from the Blazing Eyes Shana, the Blazing Eyes Crusader Shana's Noble Phantasm points. 20,000 equipment points. This is it. Not for anything else, just because it is Shana's weapon, that is. Wu Yan tapped on the list and a simple katana and a scabbard appeared in his hand. A mysterious aura surrounded the sword, attracting the attention of Mikoto and Shoujo. The hilt of the sword was black, but the end of the hilt was golden. The black guard was a square with 4 corners missing, and the middle was empty, connecting the hilt and the blade. The blade was bright silver, and in terms of color, it was much brighter than the Kusanagi no Tsurugi sword. As for the scabbard in Wu Yan's other hand, it is completely black. Wu Yan nodded with satisfaction. Wu Yan is quite familiar with this katana that can be turned into a sword or a sword. The blade is relatively small, so it is easy to control. Although it is not easy to hit, it is light and convenient. Tightening his grip on the sword, he swung it with all his might. The bright silver blade flashed with white light in the air. He waved it around a bit before sheathing it back into its scabbard. "Did you get a new weapon?" Shoujo curiously looked at Wu Yan's katana. After all, she is also a good swordsman, so she is quite fond of this kind of sword. "Well, after today's battle, my strength has increased a lot, so it is inevitable to exchange for a more powerful weapon," Wu Yan said to Shoujo after putting the katana into the interspatial ring. Mikoto nodded and said, "Then you don't want to exchange for some defensive equipment?" Wu Yan was surprised. After thinking for a while, he opened the system list and looked at it. Mikoto's words are not without reason. In today's battle against the army of monsters, if he had a decent defensive equipment, he would have saved a lot of effort. He could also extend the use of Senzubin, so he would not have to risk his life. Of course, Wu Yan does not like to wear armor. Not only is it heavy, it is also not in line with his concept. So Wu Yan looked at the system list with a nonchalant attitude. But then again, he really did find a suitable one. Mental Dragon Armor, rank C, formless, weightless, exists in the form of a concept. When the wearer is attacked, a formless dragon-shaped armor will burst out. Completely immune to attacks below level 50, weakens attacks below level 60. Equipment points, 30,000. Wu Yan was delighted. Formless? Weightless? That's good. Now I don't have to carry a piece of armor everywhere, and I don't have to worry about its weight. Wu Yan immediately took it off. A ray of light shot out from the system list and shot into Wu Yan's forehead. At the same time, Wu Yan felt a floating dragon-shaped armor in his mind. It is the mental dragon armor. It usually stays here. Only when Wu Yan is attacked will it appear and block the damage for Wu Yan. After exchanging for 2 rank C equipment, Wu Yan only has 1,000 points left. Wu Yan's mood is very good. Only a little bit of regret. Wu Yan said with regret, "Mikoto, if only I still have some equipment points. I'll help you exchange for 1 too." Mikoto waved her hand casually. "No need. I don't need any equipment. Esper power is enough." "That won't do," Wu Yan said with dissatisfaction. "What if we go to the Spalier world and meet the real strong?" Shoujo raised her head when she heard this. "Yan, are you guys going to leave this world?" Wu Yan and Mikoto both choked on their saliva. Wu Yan looked at Shoujo with annoyance. "What do you mean we're going to leave this world? We're not dead yet. You know that's not what I mean." Shoujo shouted excitedly. Wu Yan smiled and looked at Shoujo. He half-jokingly said, "Don't worry. When we get there I'll summon you. Of course, when that time comes, our lives will be fused together. If I die, you won't be able to live." Hearing this, Hinajuku finally smiled happily. "Then, let me protect you." Wu Yan blanked out for a bit before he became speechless. "Is this a declaration to raise a gigolo? Please give me an explosion. Votes. Rewards. Click. Collection. Comment. Urgent, 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 urgent. LT/AGT, LT, AGT, LT/AGT. Chapter 41. Night. Mikoto and Shoujo were already asleep. Although the 2 girls had slept for quite some time, their mental exhaustion still hadn't fully recovered. After all, the 2 girls were only 14 or 15 years old. They had just gone through a cruel slaughter. Even with Wu Yan's antics, it wasn't easy for them to relax. Wu Yan sat alone beside the fire. He was in charge of keeping watch. No one knew if there would be another demon attack in the middle of the night when everyone was asleep. Even if it wasn't on the same scale as before, he couldn't be careless. Thus, as a man, Wu Yen consciously accepted the task of keeping watch. It's definitely going to be boring, but looking at the sleeping posture of the two cute things, it's not like he can't get through it. Wu Yen is an otaku, staying up late is a common occurrence. This place was very wide. Otherwise, it wouldn't be able to accommodate such a terrifying demon army. However, the only real passage, other than the slide that Wu Yan's group slid down, was the passage directly opposite of Wu Yen. Of course, Wu Yen wouldn't let his guard down in other places. The heavenly jade should be right in front of him, Wu Yen thought to himself as he looked at the seemingly endless passageway. As long as he obtained the heavenly jade and exchanged it for the other half of the mysterious crystal from the Heron Palace, he and Mikoto would leave this world. At that time, he would summon Shoujo over. This world wouldn't have much to do with Wu Yen anymore. Although before he transmigrated, Wu Yen was also very fond of Butler Whirlwind's world. However, that didn't mean that Wu Yen would be satisfied. He still remembered the familiar dungeons on the systems list. Those were all his dreams. Now that he had the chance to realize them, how could Wu Yen be satisfied if he didn't go through all of these places? Perhaps Wu Yen would bring Shoujo back in the future. However, it was impossible for him to stop here. Butler Whirlwind was just the first stop. Your so-called night watch is just standing here in a daze. Just as Wu Yan's thoughts were about to drift away, a voice saved him. When Wu Yen looked up, Sis Cannon was looking down at him with dissatisfaction. "Aren't you asleep? Why are you up?" Wu Yen scratched his head awkwardly. He had indeed been distracted just now. He hadn't even noticed that Sis Cannon had gotten up and approached him. He had neglected his duty. "Yeah, I suddenly woke up. Maybe it's because I couldn't sleep anymore. Maybe it's because I just slept," Mikoto said casually as she sat across from Wu Yen. "Well, that's right. She's more like Sis Cannon when she's full of energy," Wu Yen said without any hesitation. Mikoto glared at Wu Yen. "What do you mean? Are you saying that I don't look like a girl? Also, what's up with Sis Cannon? Are you making fun of me?" Chuckling dryly, Wu Yen reached out his finger and pressed it against his cheek. "Don't be angry, girl. I'll give you a smile. Don't act cute in front of me. Disgusting." Mikoto resisted the urge to punch Wu Yan's face. If Shoujo wasn't still asleep, she would have flirted with him. Smiling at Mikoto, Wu Yen let out a sigh of relief. It seemed that Mikoto had fully recovered. He was afraid that Mikoto would be stubborn because of this. Luckily, it seemed that the sacrifice from before wasn't in vain. "Hey, don't change the topic. What's up with Sis Cannon?" Seeing Wu Yen laughing like an idiot, Mikoto was unhappy again. Wu Yen calling her Sis Cannon felt like an insult to her. "Ma." Scratching his face, Wu Yen said, "Mikoto, aren't you a super railgun? Calling you Sis Cannon is a form of respect." Mikoto stared straight at Wu Yan's face. "Why do I feel like that's not the case? Don't mind the details. Those who care about details are all 9. "How can I not mind?" Mikoto retorted loudly. "Why are you calling me sis? You're much older than me, you uncle." Uncle." Faced with Sis Cannon, who evolved a venomous tongue, Wu Yen felt like he was struck by lightning. He was completely stunned. "I'm only 20 years old. I'm not an uncle. You half lowly," Wu Yen screamed in his heart. But if he really screamed, he wouldn't be far from death. This made Wu Yen feel extremely aggrieved. Seeing Wu Yan's expression, Mikoto smiled and looked at the bonfire in front of her. Gradually, she lost her focus. Wu Yen, who recovered at an unknown time, for some reason he couldn't help but want to talk to her when he saw her like this. "What's wrong? Are you homesick?" Wu Yen asked softly. Mikoto nodded blankly and then shook her head. This made Wu Yen confused. Perhaps Mikoto sensed Wu Yan's confusion. She glanced at him and said, "Actually, I'm not homesick. Although I'm not dissatisfied with my previous life, living in Academy City feels a little normal. Every day I go to school, leave school, play video games. Maybe it was because of her life fusion with Wu Yen or because she had no one to talk to. Mikoto felt like she had to get it off her chest. And in this world there are a lot of exciting things. There are exorcists and monsters. When she mentioned monsters, Mikoto's expression was a little unnatural. She was probably thinking about the previous battle. But soon, Mikoto continued, "But now I miss Academy City. I miss Mom and Dad, and I miss my junior." Although that junior is a little abnormal, looks like Mikoto was harmed by that Yuri girl Shiroi Kuriko, so you're saying that you're conflicted. You want to go home, but you also want to stay here and look for excitement. Wu Yen said bluntly. At the same time, he sighed in his heart. As expected of Sis Cannon, she loved excitement. No wonder she went to flirt with those delinquents every day. Although it's similar to what you said, why do I feel uncomfortable hearing it from you? With your temper, the only time you feel comfortable is when you electrocute people. Wu Yen mumbled softly. What did you say? Nothing. Wu Yen shook his head after being glared at by Mikoto. Mikoto pouted unhappily and turned her head away. Out of sight, out of mind. Was life in Academy City normal? Wu Yen sighed in his heart. He didn't know how to tell Mikoto about that. About the Misaka sisters. The system already said that if the character Wu Yen summons didn't enter the world of that character, then the character he summons will be the same as the character from the day before the start of the storyline. Although he didn't know if the day before the storyline began was the time in the Super Railgun or the time in the Forbidden World, Mikoto didn't know about the existence of the Misaka sisters. It could be seen from the original novel that this kind-hearted girl regarded the Misaka sisters as important. Otherwise, she would not be willing to sacrifice her life for the sake of ending the superpower project. But now, Mikoto was summoned by him. Even if the time in the Forbidden World was still frozen, Misaka sister had already been born. How many of the Misaka sisters died on the day before the storyline began? Even Wu Yen didn't know. If Mikoto knew about this, she'd be worried sick. This girl who blamed Misaka sister's fate on herself, but if he didn't tell her, then it would be even more cruel. After all, the Misaka sisters were Mikoto's sisters. How should he put it? Wu Yan's face started to change. After some hesitation, Wu Yan said in a low voice, "Mikoto." She turned around and looked at Wu Yan. Seeing his hesitant face, Mikoto was confused. What? Sighing, he looked at her with a straight face and said in a serious tone, What if Academy City isn't as beautiful as you think it is? What would you do?" "Not as beautiful as I imagined it to be?" Mikoto's face froze when she heard Wu Yan's what if. As a LVL5, she had extraordinary computing power. Her IQ was definitely higher than Wu Yan's. Now that Wu Yan said something like, "What if?" Mikoto didn't believe him. Mikoto frowned. "Yen, don't you know something?" Don't try to brush me off." Before Wu Yan could answer, Mikoto stopped him. "I know. As my summoner with such a magical system, you must know a lot of things. Otherwise, you wouldn't summon someone you don't know for no reason. You must know me very well. That's why you summon me, right?" Wu Yan flinched for a bit before replying. "That's not necessarily true. At the time, I wanted someone to protect Hinajuku. That's why I chose to summon a character. That wasn't a lie." No matter how much Wu Yan liked 2D characters, Wu Yan summoned someone to protect Shoujo. Of course, liking Sis Cannon was also a part of the reason. Mikoto didn't believe Wu Yan at all. She said, "If you had told me this reason before, I might have believed you. But after this period of time, Yen, I realized that every word and every action you took with me was targeted. I don't believe that you can understand a newly summoned character to this extent. Or maybe it's the system that sent me your information, just like how you had my information back then." Mikoto laughed at Wu Yan's words. She said, "After your explanation, I'm even more certain that you already knew a lot about me before you summoned me." Wu Yan looked at Mikoto blankly. He couldn't help but laugh bitterly. "You're trying to trick me. Tell me, Yen." Mikoto widened her tea-colored eyes and said sternly, "Why did you say that Academy City isn't that great?" Wu Yen felt a headache coming on. Under Mikoto's watchful gaze, he fell silent for a moment before he slowly spilled the beans. About the clones, the Misaka sisters, Accelerator, and the Aptitude Project. As Wu Yen spoke, Mikoto's face turned green. Her eyes were filled with anger. When Wu Yen talked about the Aptitude Project, Mikoto's face turned pale. When Wu Yen finished, Mikoto lowered her head. "It's all my fault." Mikoto looked up at the ceiling. Her eyes were empty. "I knew it would be like this." Wu Yen stood up abruptly and walked to Mikoto's side. Then, he pulled her into his arms. Mikoto was shocked and quickly regained her senses. She wanted to struggle, but Wu Yan's voice slowly entered her ears. Mikoto couldn't help but stop. "There's nothing wrong with being kind, Mikoto. You have to face reality. Don't worry, right now the time in your world has stopped. The sisters will be fine for the time being. Once we become strong enough to defeat Accelerator, we'll go back and save them." Mikoto fell silent after hearing Wu Yan's words. Until a certain moment, when he felt the person in his arms nod, Wu Yen smiled. Chapter 42. Holding a piece of meat that Wu Yen just roasted, Shoujo slowly chewed on it while looking at Wu Yen and Mikoto strangely. Her heart was full of doubts. Ever since she woke up, Shoujo felt that the atmosphere between the two was a little different. Shoujo didn't see anything wrong with Wu Yan's words. When it's time to roast meat, he'll roast meat. When he speaks, he's still so casual. But Mikoto's behavior is really strange. Every time Wu Yen looks at Mikoto, it wouldn't take more than 2 seconds for Mikoto to turn her head away, not daring to look at Wu Yen. Whenever Wu Yen turns his head away to do something else, Mikoto would sneak a peek at him, and in less than 2 seconds, she would shake her head like crazy and look away. Although she said she looked away, it didn't take long for her to look at Wu Yen again. Then she looked away and looked at him again. She didn't get tired of repeating the same thing. Such unnatural behavior made Shoujo feel like a kitten was scratching her heart. She couldn't wait to ask what happened. After everyone finished eating, Wu Yen pointed at the fire ring and the fire suddenly disappeared. Wu Yen picked up the fire ring and threw it into his space ring. Then he turned to the 2 girls. "Alright, let's go. There shouldn't be many monsters left in this place. After all, the number of monsters we killed yesterday wasn't small." Wu Yan's words reminded Mikoto and Shoujo of the monsters that piled up into a mountain. Both of them nodded solemnly. Seeing the 2 girls' reaction, Wu Yan's expression didn't change, but he was actually very happy. If the 2 girls didn't get used to it, then it would be really bad for the next battle. "There's only one passage here." Wu Yen pointed at the wide road in front of them. "So, we can only go forward. Let's go, quickly find that jade of the Heavenly Palace, and then leave this damned place," Mikoto said with a little excitement. Not only because they could leave this place after finding the jade of the Heavenly Palace, but more importantly, there must be demons and ghosts ahead. And demons and ghosts meant experience. After Wu Yan's explanation and consolation, Mikoto looked like she didn't care about Misaka's sister anymore. But in reality, she had already taken this matter to heart. Even though Wu Yen had said that his world was still in a frozen state, that time had stopped, and that nothing would happen to his sisters, Mikoto was still worried. She only wanted to become stronger as soon as possible, to become stronger than Accelerator. That way, she would be able to save her sisters. Of course, being anxious is unavoidable. Wu Yen is already very satisfied. Compared to the original work where Mikoto looked helpless and hopeless, the current Mikoto's performance is undoubtedly much better. Part of the reason was because time had stopped, another part was because it wasn't as hopeless as the original. In the original work, Mikoto wanted to save her sister but she couldn't. Even though Mikoto was the 3rd and Accelerator was the 1st, it didn't seem like a big difference, but it was actually wrong. The difference between them was like heaven and earth. In the original, Mikoto had a simple fight with Exhilarator in order to save one of the Misaka sisters. But under Exhilarator's overpowered strength, Mikoto lost miserably in his hands. Plus, there were people from the council behind the scenes. Because of this, Mikoto wanted to use the method of suicide to save her sisters. But now it's different. Mikoto, who couldn't beat Exhilarator before, has become Wu Yan's summon. As long as there are enough battles, Mikoto will continue to grow stronger until she surpasses Exhilarator. As for the Misaka sisters, after Mikoto pushed him away with a red face last night, Wu Yan spent the whole night explaining the inside story to her, including the real purpose of the Misaka sisters being used, Alistair's plan, and the support of the council. This made Mikoto feel a bit dejected. Becoming the enemy of the entire Academy City, the place you've been living in all your life, it's unbearable. Of course, Mikoto has already prepared herself. Even in the original, she had this kind of determination, let alone now. But this also made Mikoto understand that as long as she can defeat Exhilarator, at least for a short period of time, the sisters will be fine. Alistair won't let anything go wrong with his plan, this much is certain. As for what to do after defeating Exhilarator, Wu Yan assured her that the system will find a way to deal with it. Mikoto was relieved. Without a doubt, compared to the original Mikoto who fought to the end by herself, the current Mikoto has someone whose life is intertwined with hers as her shield. She has someone she can absolutely trust to help her. She's undoubtedly much happier. But still, it's good to be strong. Under Mikoto's impatient urging, the three once again embarked on their journey to find the heavenly jade. The environment is the same as before, there are rocks and walls everywhere, there isn't even a drop of water. The three walked on a path that could easily become boring to the eyes, but the vigilance in their hearts didn't decrease at all. Compared to when they first came in, the current Mikoto and Shoujo have undoubtedly changed a lot. Yesterday's events are still deeply engraved in their hearts. That kind of battle where it's either you die or I live has toughened up their hearts a lot. But there's still one thing they're not used to, looking at how careful Mikoto and Shoujo are walking with their legs clamped together. Wu Yan was speechless. Wearing safety pants all year round, now that they've taken it off, their behavior has changed so much. What should he say about them? Mikoto and Shoujo are gnashing their teeth in anger. The two of them, who are usually carefree, decided to wear safety pants because they don't want to worry about anything. Occasionally they would have to take care of their skirts. For tomboyish girls like them, who exercise a lot, it's too tiring. So, they've gotten used to wearing safety pants. Now that they suddenly changed, it's really awkward. Plus, they have to guard against the wolf behind them. The two girls knew that once they accidentally exposed themselves, the shameless wolf behind them would definitely continue to admire them openly. However, once the battle started, this kind of thing was unavoidable. There was nothing they could do but swallow their grievances. If Wu Yan knows what they're thinking, he'll definitely laugh and say, "I've seen everything on your body, do I still need to pay attention to your underwear?" What Mikoto and Shoujo don't know is that their bodyguard is currently lying quietly in Wu Yan's interspatial ring. What is shameless? This is shameless. Look, there's light in front. Shoujo raised her white cherry and pointed at the road ahead. There's a faint light, it looks like an exit. Wu Yan's face tensed up. He quickly stood in front of Mikoto and Shoujo and said to them, "I don't know what's going on in front, everyone be careful, we can't rule out the possibility that there's a demon in front." Mikoto and Shoujo nodded solemnly. They've already mentally prepared themselves after yesterday's battle. Mikoto even secretly calculated the calculation formula of her superpower in her mind. She's prepared to use her superpower at any time to prepare for battle. After all, Wu Yan is the leader here, but she's the strongest. After passing through the tunnel, Wu Yan, Mikoto, and Shoujo immediately saw a bright light in front of them. Then, a circular plaza appeared in front of them. Compared to the previous plaza, this place is much wider. It doesn't look like it was man-made. On the surrounding walls, there are holes of different sizes. The holes aren't deep. Even from the bottom of the plaza, Wu Yan and the other two can clearly see the bottom of the hole. No matter how you look at it, it looks like a beehive. In front of Wu Yan and the other two, there's a hole that's a lot bigger than the other holes. In front of the hole, there's a wide dragon throne. Although it's made of stone, it looks quite domineering. At this point, Mikoto's face darkened. Wu Yan and Hinajuku couldn't help but flinch. "What's wrong, Mikoto?" Shoujo walked to Mikoto's side and said, "Look." Mikoto frowned. She pointed at the dragon throne and said, "That's a dragon throne, isn't it? Isn't it obvious?" Wu Yan rolled his eyes. "Anyone can see that it's a dragon throne." Receiving Wu Yan's eye roll, Mikoto immediately glared back. "So stupid, anyone can sit on a dragon throne. Isn't it just an emperor?" Wu Yan suddenly shook. He kind of understood Mikoto's meaning. "You're saying..." Chuja's mouth is wide open, looking at the tall dragon throne. She's speechless. Looks like she also kind of understood. "That's right." Mikoto looked at Wu Yan and Shoujo. "Here, there are only a few small holes. We can see the bottom of the holes, including the one behind the dragon throne. This means that there's no other way. This is the innermost place." After saying that, Mikoto's face tensed up. Since this is the innermost place, then where did the demon army come from? Pointing at the holes, Mikoto said, "There's only one answer. Those holes are the demon's nest, and there," moving her finger to the hole behind the dragon throne, Mikoto smiled and said, "It's the king of these demons. The nest they're living in." Boom! Following Mikoto's words, the ground suddenly shook violently. The domineering cis cannon immediately revealed her true form. Her body tilted and fell into Wu Yan's arms. Red clouds floated onto Mikoto's face. Shoujo on the side also fell into Wu Yan's arms from the sudden tremors. Wu Yan didn't refuse. He directly hugged the two girls and used the method of deflecting the force to stabilize his body. The ground started to crack. Rocks rolled everywhere in the tremors. Some even rolled towards Wu Yan's direction. Wu Yan was shocked. He quickly carried the two girls and jumped, dodging the rolling rocks one after another. When he couldn't dodge, he stepped on the rolling rocks and used the momentum to fly. The tremors became more and more violent. Just when Wu Yan was worried that the cave would collapse, a tree vine suddenly shot out from the cracked ground and arrived in front of Wu Yan like a gust of wind, whipping onto Wu Yan, who couldn't react in time. At this moment, a wave of energy came from Wu Yan's mind. It passed through his mind and spread to Wu Yan's body. Just when the tree vine was about to hit Wu Yan, the wave suddenly changed into an invisible dragon armor, blocking the tree vine's attack. With a muffled sound, the attack of the tree vines was blocked by the dragon-shaped armor. When the attack was blocked, the dragon-shaped armor flickered for a moment before disappearing. Only then did Wu Yan react. He quickly stepped on the tree vine, somersaulted in the air, and landed on the ground, a drop of cold sweat dripping down his forehead. If it wasn't for the mental dragon armor, he would have been seriously injured just now. Failing its attack, the tree vine retreated, but more tree vines started to shoot out from the ground. In the blink of an eye, hundreds of tree vines shot out. A giant tree rose from the center of the tree vines. There was a face on the tree trunk. It was gaping at Wu Yan and the girls. This is a tree demon? Or a tentacle monster? Chapter 43. Tree Demon. Level 45. The 5-meter-tall giant body and the vines that were even longer than its body swung in the air. The moment the vines touched the rolling stones on the ground, they were surrounded twice. Then, with some unknown method, the vines crushed the large stones into pieces. Wu Yan's butthole tightened when he saw this. He hugged Mikoto and Shoujo tightly and shuddered. This tree demon that was familiar with the tentacle monster's skills was a great enemy. Wu Yan made up his mind in an instant. He cautiously looked at the tree demon waving its vines and decided that it would be best to end this as quickly as possible. If he was entangled, he would lose his chastity. If the two girls in his arms were entangled, Wu Yen wouldn't even have a place to cry. If he was NTR'd by a tree, Wu Yen might as well just die. Wu Yen had forgotten that Mikoto was level 69. Is it the king of this place? Shoujo poked her head out of Wu Yan's embrace. She was used to Wu Yan's embrace. With Mikoto by her side, Shoujo was still a little shy. She glanced at the tree demon and quickly turned her attention away. I don't know. If Hinagiku is a bit shy, then Mikoto is very shy. This isn't the first time Wu Yen hugged her, but the first time was when her mental state was a bit off after the massacre. The second time was when she first heard about the sisters and her mental state was a bit off as well. This is the first time she's been hugged so blatantly by someone like Wu Yen. Wu Yen didn't think too much about it. Let's not talk about hugging them, he even bathed them. What's there to be concerned about? He only cares about this tentacle treant. He can't wait to kill it. Ignoring the fact that it's a male nemesis, even if it isn't, Wu Yen still remembers the grudge he had with the Tree of Vines. If it wasn't for the mental dragon armor's immunity to all attacks below level 50, that whip would have rendered him impotent. How could Wu Yen not hold a grudge? You girls wait here, I will cut it into pieces first. Putting down the two girls, Wu Yen said this, making the two girls feel a bit weird. Did Yen Mo have a grudge against the tree demon? You don't need me to do it? After Wu Yen put her down, Mikoto blushed and lowered her head. She's mad at herself. It's just a small tremor, a little bit of electromagnetic force would have been enough to stabilize it. Why didn't she think of that? Why did she fall into Yan's arms? Let's do it together. Let's get this over with. In order to avoid being NTR'd, Wu Yen went all out. Mikoto adjusted her state of mind and nodded indifferently. A level 45 monster is just a small monster to her. If it was together with the demon army from before, she would be a bit more afraid. Just this one? Then what about me? Hinagiku hurriedly made her presence known. You stay by Mikoto's side, Wu Yen said quickly. He waved his left hand and a katana appeared in his hand. Okay. Shoujo was a little reluctant. She was weak and couldn't help Wu Yen. Shoujo cared a lot. But the situation was different now. Without the resplendent breath, rushing in recklessly would only lead to death. Seeing Hinagika's expression, Mikoto patted her shoulder and whispered in her ear. Wait until you become Yan's summon, you'll be able to grow infinitely stronger. At that time, come and help him. Shoujo felt a little better after hearing Mikoto's words. She nodded firmly, indicating that she understood. It's coming. A tree vine whipped towards the three of them. Wu Yen quickly reminded them as he pulled out his new Nietono no Shana. The simple yet shiny blade flashed, and the tree vine that was as thick as a thigh fell to the ground. Damn! As expected of the weapon of the 10,000 years cute thing. Wu Yen touched the Nieto no Shana in surprise. Although he knew that there was a huge difference between each level of equipment, Wu Yen was still surprised by the power of the Nieto no Shana. At least in terms of sharpness, it was enough. No wonder the common armament and rare armament were only one level apart. One could only be used by low-level warriors or magicians, while the other could only be used by at least level 7. While Wu Yen was pleasantly surprised by his new equipment, the tentacle treant ignored the sliced vines as if they were nothing. It waved its other vines and sent Wu Yen flying. Yen! Seeing Wu Yen being sent flying, the two girls cried out in alarm. Wu Yen crawled up from the ground and waved his hand to indicate that he was fine. At the same time, he glared at the tentacle treant, his eyes filled with anger. Damn it, even my mother has never hit me before. It's fine if you hit me once, but you even hit me twice. I can't stand it anymore. Although Wu Yen had the protection of the dragon armor, this was the first time Wu Yen had been put in such a difficult situation by a monster of the same level. Therefore, Wu Yen was furious. With a turn of his body, Wu Yen dodged the tentacle treant's second attack. He continuously stepped on the ground and arrived in front of the tentacle treant with the speed of the wind. He tightly held onto the Nieto no Shana and chopped it down. When Wu Yen got close, the leaves on the tentacle trent's head formed a circle and covered its body from above. Wu Yan's attack only managed to cut off countless pieces of leaf. After his attack failed, Wu Yen stepped on the ground and moved behind the tentacle trent. Before his attack could land, another circle of leaves fell and covered the tentacle trent's body. Helpless, Wu Yen could only chop off another pile of leaves. At this time, several vines fell from the sky and whipped towards Wu Yen. Wu Yen was shocked and wanted to dodge, but a sound stopped him and he continued to slash at the tentacle trent. The vines instantly arrived behind Wu Yen and wanted to whip him 3 times, but several black swords came from afar and shredded all the vines that attacked Wu Yen. Wu Yan's attack successfully landed on the tentacle trent's body and took away a piece of wood. Roar! The tentacle trent finally cried out in pain. Wu Yen was good at kicking a man when he was down. A red halo flashed around the Nieto no Shana as Wu Yen viciously slashed down with the glowing Nieto no Shana. Chaotic return to Horizon Dance. With a cold shout, a red arc of sword light came out from the Nieto no Shana and slammed into the tentacle trent's face. The huge force cut the tentacle trent's body into pieces. With the remaining force, the tentacle trent shot backwards and cut off all the vines in front of Wu Yen. The Nieto no Shana in his hand started to burn and ignite. Wu Yen looked at the Nieto no Shana in shock and then became happy. He didn't expect the chaotic return to Horizon Dance to be able to trigger the power of the Nieto no Shana. The already powerful chaotic return to Horizon Dance was strengthened to such a degree. What a surprise! One-hit kill. Stroking the Nieto no Shana's body, Wu Yen laughed and returned the sword to its scabbard. Are you all right? Seeing that the battle was over, Mikoto and Shoujo came to Wu Yan's side. I'm fine. I have to thank you for the Iron Sand sword just now, Mikoto. Wu Yen smiled at Mikoto, making her blush. Thus, Sundra Cannon decided to act Sundra. I only acted because I saw that you couldn't handle it. Don't misunderstand. I clap 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 clap. A burst of applause woke up Wu Yen, who was enjoying Mikoto's Sundra act. It also woke up Mikoto and Shoujo. Everyone looked towards the source of the sound and felt their hairs stand on end. A man was sitting on the highest dragon throne. The man had super white skin like a frozen corpse. His long black hair reached his waist and his bangs covered one of his eyes. The other eye that was exposed outside of his hair was a snake's eye. King Orochi. Level 50. Wu Yan's serious face fell. Orochimaru? Uncle Snake, don't tell me you also transmigrated? Or did you use the reincarnation technique to transmigrate into Butler Whirlwind? Looking at King Orochi sitting on the dragon throne, Wu Yen felt that he looked more and more like Orochimaru. If Wu Yen didn't ask the system before and knew that there were no transmigrators other than himself, Wu Yen would have thought that he was Orochimaru. Serpent King was still clapping his hands with an evil smile on his face. Interesting, really interesting. I didn't think that you guys would be able to break all my toys. It's a pity that there's nothing in this damned place. Otherwise, I would definitely reward you guys. Wu Yen looked at King Orochi in shock. He was speechless. Does he feel like he's going to eat me to death? If I was alone, I might have been eaten to death by you. But here, we have a girl who broke through the sky. Yen, look. While Wu Yen was speechless, Shoujo suddenly exclaimed. She pointed at King Orochi's neck and shouted, Look, that's the heavenly jade. Wu Yen heard and quickly turned to look at King Orochi's neck. Indeed, there was a jade pendant on King Orochi's neck. It was swaying there. It looked exactly like the illustration handbook that I Cheng's mother showed them. Heavenly jade? So that's how it is. You're here for this jade tablet. Great Serpent King said with a look of realization on his face. As he spoke, he began to laugh out of the blue. Are you the king here? Mikoto took 2 steps forward and shouted at him. This level 50 guy was so arrogant that Mikoto was especially annoyed. That's right. King Orochi looked down at Wu Yen and the other two arrogantly. He stretched out his arms as if he was hugging something and said, "I am the king here. The strongest Dragon King." Dragon King. Dragon. Shoujo was shocked. Wu Yan's mouth opened wide. Even Mikoto, who could use the system to detect King Orochi's name, was stunned. She tried her best to hold back her laughter. She covered her mouth with force and looked like she was having a hard time holding it in. After hearing King Orochi's words, Wu Yen no longer treated him as Orochi Maru. This was because he had a strong Chunibyu aura on him. Wu Yen almost laughed out loud. This Chunibyu Orochi actually said that he was a dragon? Although it wasn't that he hadn't heard of dragons and snakes being family, and some fantasy novels and dramas didn't have scenes of snakes transforming into dragons, but for King Orochi to say that he was a dragon, that was a joke. Dragon, the legendary dragon, how could it be so white that it was about to enter the ground? How could a dragon be level 50? Alright, even those lizard-like dragons in the West wouldn't be so weak. Wu Yen already thought that King Orochi was a joke sent by the will of the universe. Of course, Wu Yen also spoke his own words honestly. "Are you here to be funny?" Wu Yan's words made Mikoto burst out laughing. Her hand that was covering her mouth moved to her stomach. She laughed so hard that Mikoto's tears almost came out. No, they already came out. Shoujo looked at the laughing Mikoto and Wu Yen in confusion. What was going on? "How dare you?" King Orochi roared. "How dare you look down on me, the great Dragon King?" Mikoto laughed even harder after hearing King Orochi's word. Wu Yen couldn't help but burst out laughing. Seeing Wu Yen and Mikoto's reaction, King Orochi couldn't hold back his anger. King Orochi stuck out his tongue and licked his chin. His snake eyes glowed coldly as he looked at Wu Yen and the other two. "I've decided. I'll grind your bodies into powder and use it as insect repellent from my dragon cave." "I've decided too," Wu Yen announced with a smile as he raised the Nietono Shana in his hand. "For the development of comedians, I've decided to send you to hell to show off your talents." Chapter 44. I want you to die. The mocking tone finally caused the Orochi's king to explode. It opened its mouth and spat out a ball of purple liquid towards Wu Yen like a bullet. Its speed was unbelievably fast. On the surface, Wu Yen didn't care about the Orochi's king. However, inside, he was already very worried. Even if the opponent was Chunibyu and arrogant, the level 50 was no joke. Wu Yen knew that there was only a 5-level difference between him and the Orochi's king. However, even if Wu Yen was only level 49 and only had a 1-level difference, Wu Yen wasn't confident that he could win against the opponent. After all, this was the difference between the tiers. Level 50 was already tier 6. Although Wu Yen was level 45, he was still tier 5. The difference between the tiers wasn't small. As the tiers increased, the difference between the tiers would become bigger. At tier 5 or tier 6, the difference between the two was already very big. If it wasn't for the two rare armaments, Shana and Dragon Armor, Wu Yen wouldn't have dared to fight the Orochi's king one-on-one. Especially the Dragon Armor, it was simply a low-tier artifact. It was completely immune to attacks below level 50 and could even weaken attacks below level 60. It was a great opportunity to exchange for it. Although he didn't know if a level 50 bag was included in the range of immunity, Wu Yen didn't want to test it with his own body. This guy was a snake. The ball of liquid that was spat out from its mouth was undoubtedly poison. "Mikoto, protect Shoujo." As he pulled out Shana, Wu Yen quickly shouted. He then waved the sword in his hand and a gust of wind blew the flying ball of poison away. "Be careful." Mikoto, who had already seen Wu Yan's intention to fight one-on-one, immediately used her superpower. Her entire body emitted a bluish-white electric current. She pulled Shoujo, who was beside her, and stretched out her hand towards the wall. The two of them flew backwards as if they were being pulled by a rope. You still want to escape in front of me? What a joke. King Orochi laughed maniacally. Thinking that Mikoto and Shoujo were trying to escape, he opened his mouth and spat out a ball of poison towards Mikoto. Would the level 69 Mikoto care about the level 50 Orochi King's attack? The answer was no. Without even looking, Mikoto's body surged with electricity, and the venom was instantly dissolved. When King Orochi saw this, he was startled. A strong gust of wind came behind him while he was still in a daze. Wu Yen lowered his head and faced King Orochi's back. Being distracted in the middle of a battle, Wu Yen slashed at the Orochi King's neck as he muttered the lines that would appear in many melodramatic dramas. But someone will die. King Orochi King's mouth curved into a sinister smile. Facing Wu Yan's slash, King Orochi King only twisted his neck a little. His neck strangely extended forward, causing Wu Yan's slash to hit empty air. Without moving his body, King Orochi King's head turned back. His snake eyes stared at Wu Yan's face and shot a ball of poison towards Wu Yan's face. Wu Yan cursed in his heart. You actually imitated Uncle Snake's soft body modification and even wanted to shoot me in the face. You're not a girl. At this time, Wu Yan still maintained his slash. Seeing the poison shooting towards him, not only did Wu Yan not pull back his katana, he instead used more strength to slash down. The Nyamano Shana was cut into the ground, deeply embedded into the rocky ground. Wu Yan used his katana to pull his body over, avoiding the oncoming poison. King Orochi King was very surprised by Wu Yan's actions. It was as if he didn't expect it. Thus, Wu Yan unceremoniously turned around and rewarded him with a punch, sending him flying with a backhand. King Orochi King flew backwards in the air with a furious expression. He forcefully swung his leg. Following his movement, King Orochi King's leg suddenly extended and kicked the stunned Wu Yan away. For God's sake, he can even use Luffy's move. Wu Yan, who was cursing in his heart, quickly fell to the ground with King Orochi King. In their first confrontation, the two were actually evenly matched. So fast, I can't even see their movements. Shoujo rubbed her eyes. She forced herself to watch a battle of this level, using her eyes too much. Mikoto, who was beside her, didn't say anything. She just stared at King Orochi King and muttered to herself. Your claws actually touch this king. King Orochi King lay on the ground motionlessly. But if one looked carefully, one would discover that his snake eyes were filled with astonishing killing intent. With such a soft body, ordinary attacks couldn't cause any harm to him. But Wu Yan was able to send him flying in the battle. This made King Orochi King, who believed himself to be invincible, unable to accept. Kill. I must kill him. In contrast to King Orochi King, Wu Yan quickly got up from the ground. He touched the part of his body that was a little painful from the kick and rejoiced in his heart. If it wasn't for the mental dragon armor, it wouldn't be as simple as just a little pain. Sure enough, not all protagonists can fight above their level. If he didn't exchange for these 2C-grade equipment, he might have already lost after that kick. Holding the Nyandanza, he pointed at King Orochi King, who was still lying on the ground. Wu Yan mocked. What? The Honorable Dragon King also has the habit of lying on the ground after losing a fight. Just as he finished speaking, Wu Yan's expression immediately changed. A chill rose from his back. Wu Yan fiercely slammed his foot on the ground and retreated. A small snake came out from the ground when Wu Yan retreated. It brushed past Wu Yan's face and slithered up. After being dodged by Wu Yan, the snake twisted its body and bit at Wu Yan. Wu Yan's expression changed again and again. Seeing that he was about to be buried under the snake's mouth, the mental dragon armor once again turned into an invisible shield and blocked the snake's attack. The small snake hit the mental dragon armor and made a crisp sound. Before it could attack again, its body was cut in half and fell to the ground. After cutting the small snake in half, Wu Yan stabilized his body. His forehead was covered in cold sweat. Phew! Shoujo let out a breath and patted her chest. Her heart was filled with fear. Mikoto smiled and put down her hand that was pointing at King Orochi. Ha 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 ha! King Orochi stood up and looked at Wu Yen with a smile. However, there was no smile in his eyes. Not bad. Even this move can't do anything to you. No wonder you can break all my toys. Licking his lips, the Serpent King held his forehead with his hand and laughed so hard that his entire body trembled. Wu Yen gripped his sword and coldly stared at King Orochi. He wanted to cut him into pieces. He almost died just now. Let me explain again. Wu Yen is a very vengeful person. The wind started to howl. The ground started to shake. The atmosphere started to swirl. The blade started to whistle. Right hand holding the blade, left hand pressing down on the hilt. The blade lit up with red light and a scorching aura started to spread. King Orochi stopped laughing when he felt the oppressive atmosphere. His face darkened and his body started to tense up. It's funny, isn't it? Wu Yen said faintly and then chuckled. Well then, let's see if you can still laugh after this. Wu Yan's body turned into a blur and he appeared in front of King Orochi. Chaotic return. His cold eyes stared at King Orochi. King Orochi narrowed his snake eyes and the blade flashed in front of him. Horizon dance. Bang! With a loud explosion, a red light shrouded the area where Wu Yen and Orochi King are standing. Dust and pebbles were blown into the air by the explosion, the ground around them cracked and turned into a barren wasteland. Shoujo and Mikoto were shocked. They quickly covered their faces with their hands to block the wind and dust. They tried to open their eyes to see what was going on. A corner of the dust cloud protruded out of the cloud of dust. Not long after, Naruto King flew out of the cloud of dust. Wu Yen followed closely behind as he arrived in front of Naruto King. He raised his knee and rammed it into Naruto King's abdomen. Wah! King Orochi's eyes popped out. He opened his mouth wide and spat out a mouthful of saliva. Then he was pushed to the ground by Wu Yen. He slammed into the wall and a human figure was blasted out. After getting his revenge, Wu Yen felt a wave of satisfaction wash over him. After the buff from Horizon Dance, the power of chaotic return to Horizon Dance had reached a new level. Wu Yen was very satisfied with its power and momentum. If Wu Yen could use the art of freedom, it might be even stronger. After all, Horizon Dance was a noble artifact of the Flame Mist Warriors. If Wu Yen wasn't fighting against someone of a higher rank, he would have killed King Orochi with one move. You damned ant! King Orochi was furious. Ever since he became the king of this place, he had never suffered such a loss before. In his rage, King Orochi opened his mouth wide. Venom shot out like a machine gun towards Wu Yen. The overwhelming amount of venom blocked Wu Yan's path. Wu Yan's eyes focused. He gently twisted his body and rushed towards King Orochi. He waved the long sword in his hand and scattered the venom. Wu Yen, who had the sword mastery, had calculated every move carefully. Not only did he block King Orochi's venom attack, but he also opened a path for himself. After Horizon Dance knocked away the venom, the blade was still silver. It was not affected by the venom that could melt human bones. Wu Yen immediately approached King Orochi. Die! His hands turned into two huge Orochi's mouth. King Orochi grinned as he attacked Wu Yen. The mental dragon armor appeared and blocked the two huge snake mouth. Wu Yen already knew that he could not be completely immune to a level 50 attack. However, he could still weaken it. Therefore, Wu Yen ignored the residual force of King Orochi's attack and allowed it to hit him. His body shook slightly. Wu Yan's footsteps paused for a moment. He then continued to attack King Orochi as if nothing had happened. He arrived in front of him at 0 distance. What? King Orochi looked at Wu Yen in shock. In an instant, Wu Yen waved the long sword in his hand. The red sword light descended once again. Chaotic return to Horizon Dance. After King Orochi was completely smashed into the wall, Wu Yen laughed. Just as he was about to withdraw his sword and retreat, a fist suddenly reached out from the wall and sent Wu Yen flying. With his other hand, King Orochi slowly walked out from the wall. Many years ago, he was only a slightly stronger snake demon. After being sealed in this place, he was humiliated and bullied by countless older demons. They were stronger than him, so the great Serpent King could only endure with all his might, all so that one day, he could stand at the top and kill all the creatures that dared to offend him. Gradually, as time passed, the great Serpent King grew stronger and stronger. In this place filled with powerful yaos, the great Serpent King kept on fighting until he killed all the yaos that had bullied him in the past. Then, he became invincible and became the king. I am invincible. Kill, kill, kill. King Orochi twisted his body, and a low voice filled with killing intent spread out. Kill, 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 kill. The low voice turned into a violent roar. The powerful sound waves shook the stone walls. A powerful aura rose from King Orochi's body, causing Wu Yen to be shocked. Bang! King Orochi's body suddenly exploded into pieces. A green light flew out from the broken body and into the air. The light grew brighter. Wu Yen, Shoujo, and Mikoto couldn't help but close their eyes. A huge snake head peeked out from the light and looked at the shocked Wu Yen on the ground. The snake opened its mouth and let out a loud roar. Sound. Shaking the earth. Chapter 45. Hiss! Its 50-meter-long snake body was casually placed on top of the beehive-like structure. Its 2-meter-thick snake head that looked like the head of a dinosaur swayed lightly. Its pale-sized snake eyes stared at Wu Yen, who was on the ground with a cold and murderous look. The tender flesh at the side of the snake's mouth twitched as if it was sneering. It roared loudly at Wu Yen. The sound wave swept away a large amount of dust and gravel, blowing towards Wu Yen, who was standing in front of the giant snake. Orochi monster. Level 60. Standing under the giant snake head, Wu Yen resisted the trembling of his body. He held Shauna tightly until the web between his thumb and index finger split open and blood dripped down. Wu Yen did not care. He only looked at the Orochi monster with bitterness in his heart. He did not expect that in the previous battle, King Orochi did not use its true strength at all. But it made sense. If it was only level 50, it might be able to defeat any monster in this huge monster horde. However, it was not enough to suppress such a large number of monsters. To suppress such a large number of monsters, it would require at least the current level and a body that surpassed everything. Orochi monster. King Orochi monster's true form. Level 60. Level 7. Relying on Nippon no Shana, Psyche Dragon Armor, and Chaotic Return to Horizon Waltz, Wu Yen can challenge the level 50 Orochi King, who is one tier above him. Furthermore, with Psyche Dragon Armor and Chaotic Return to Horizon Waltz and Nippon no Shana's attack power, Wu Yen can slay the Orochi King. But 2 levels higher, even if they had B-grade equipment and gold-grade armaments, it was still impossible. Unless, like the demon army from before, they relied on their terrifying numbers to attack in a frenzied manner, as if they were sending themselves to their deaths. But was it possible for one person? The answer was, of course it was possible. Under the cold gaze, Wu Yen took a deep breath. He raised his right hand holding the sword and pointed at King Orochi monster. Run? In this sealed cave, where could he run to? Therefore, they could only fight. Of course, attacking blindly would only lead to death. But don't forget, Wu Yan's real trump card was the 830,000 item points. Disregarding everything else, as long as he could exchange for a bottle of resplendent breath, he would definitely have a chance of winning the upcoming battle. The resplendent breath could force one's body into a state of invincibility. As long as one drank it, they would be invincible for 3 hours. This was probably Wu Yan's surname. At this moment, Other than killing intent, the Orochi demon felt smug. In its imagination, when it revealed its true form, that ant should have a face full of fear and despair. Then, it would start to run away. Then, it would tease him and vent the resentment in its heart before dealing with him. But what he didn't expect was that this damned ant didn't seem to be afraid at all. He didn't run away as he thought, and he even dared to point his weapon at him. At this moment, King Orochi Monster's smugness completely turned into endless killing intent. Wu Yen, who was shrouded in killing intent, froze and began to tremble uncontrollably. Wu Yen laughed at himself in his heart. Then, he clenched his teeth and prepared to open the system list to exchange for the resplendent breath. Yen, the next battle belongs to me. A bolt of lightning flashed in front of Wu Yen from afar, crackling incessantly. Mikoto stood there looking at the great snake demon. Her eyes were filled with the will to fight. Mikoto! Opening the system list, Wu Yen looked at Mikoto, who suddenly appeared in front of him. His heart was filled with joy. Yes, there's still Mikoto. I'm not alone. But, can you kill it? Wu Yen hesitantly took a few steps forward and asked in a low voice. Mikoto closed her eyes. She knew that Wu Yen wasn't asking if she could kill Orochi Monster, but if she dared to kill Orochi Monster. But Mikoto immediately opened her eyes again. Ah, it's not a human. It's just a monster that harms people. I will kill it. Wu Yen muttered in his heart and looked at Mikoto. Can you do it? Hearing this, Mikoto raised her head proudly with a face full of confidence. Who are you asking? I'm Tokuwadai's trump card, the LVL5's third place, Railgun Misaka Mikoto. Wu Yen was stunned. Looking at the confident Mikoto, a smile bloomed on his face. Then it's up to you, Mikoto. Wu Yen opened the system list and used 100,000 item points to exchange for a bottle of resplendent breath, and stuffed it into Mikoto's hand. If there's an accident, drink it. Although Mikoto's life was fused with his, as long as he didn't die, he could use half of the summoning points to revive Mikoto. But Wu Yen had subconsciously forgotten that in his heart, Mikoto was just a girl who needed to be doted on. Mikoto wanted to use this excuse to reject Wu Yen, but when she saw the serious look in Wu Yan's eyes, her heart skipped a beat. She quickly turned her head and touched the potion bottle in her hand. She drank it once, so she naturally knew what it was. She put it in her pocket and nodded. Be careful. Waving her hand, Mikoto looked at the snake demon that was getting more and more irritable. Blue and white electric sparks flashed again. The electric current covered her body, and the ends of her brown hair fluttered. Cool. Free and easy. Wu Yen couldn't help but glance at her. Then, he kicked off the ground and moved to Chuju's side. Seeing Wu Yen backing away, the Orochi monster wanted to attack Wu Yen. An inexplicable sense of vigilance rose from its heart. The Orochi monster quickly focused its mind. It saw Mikoto staring at it. The electric sparks on her body jumped even faster, causing the Orochi monster to feel a sense of danger. Seeing this, the Orochi monster understood that the most threatening thing here wasn't Wu Yen, but the girl in front of it. Yen, how are you? Chuju moved closer to Wu Yen and asked silently. Wu Yen shook his head. I'm fine, but it's up to Mikoto now. Hinajuku nodded solemnly. She couldn't see Mikoto's and the great snake demon's level, so she didn't know how Mikoto would win against such a monstrous monster. However, since Wu Yen chose to believe in Mikoto, then she would also choose to believe in her comrade. As the electric sparks flashed on Mikoto's body, the Orochi monster's sense of danger intensified. The Orochi monster believed that this little girl was definitely an existence that could kill it. The sense of danger had completely overtaken its self-esteem. Normally, if a little girl dared to stand in front of it and provoke it like this, the Orochi monster would have killed her without a word. But although it was a little arrogant, it wasn't an idiot. The sense of danger in its heart told it that if it underestimated the girl in front of it, it would definitely die. Thus, the Orochi monster retracted its killing intent and focused its thoughts. The gloomy aura on its body began to fluctuate. "Aren't you going to attack me?" Mikoto shouted loudly. She couldn't help but be excited to duel with a strong opponent. She was a competitive person to begin with. Even if the opponent was a monster, even if this duel had escalated to the point where life and death were up to fate, Mikoto only had one thought in her mind. Win. "Since you're not going to attack me," her bangs rose slightly, electric sparks flew to Mikoto's forehead and converged into an even brighter electric current. Then, it shot towards the Orochi monster. "Then I won't hold back." The electric spear was Mikoto's most common move. It didn't have much attack power, but it had the advantage of being extremely fast. Under Mikoto's command, the electric spear caused a series of sonic booms wherever it passed. Before the monster could react, the electric spear had already hit the Orochi monster's snake head. The Orochi monster only saw a flash of blue and white light, and then a sharp pain came from its head. In front of its huge body, the electric spear's attack power could only cause it a little pain, but it was enough to numb it. It wasn't until 2 or 3 seconds later that it reflexively raised its head. However, at the same time the Orochi monster raised its head, another electric current just happened to pass through its head. The Orochi monster raised its head just in time to deliver its own head. The electric spear hit the Orochi monster's eye. This wasn't just a momentary numbness. The eyes were the weakest part of the human body, even for monsters. Therefore, when the electric spear pierced the Orochi monster's eye, the pain was transmitted to the Orochi monster's brain, and a mournful snake hiss sounded. One of the snake's eyes was already closed, and blood was flowing down. The Orochi monster shook its head in pain, but it exposed more of its weakness to Mikoto. Mikoto smiled lightly and slowly raised her hands. In the midst of the electric current explosion, a wave of black sand flowed out from the ground, forming a black wave. Iron sand. A derivative of Mikoto's superpower, using electricity to generate electromagnetic force to control the iron sand, and then using it to attack. Seeing that the Orochi monster had stepped into her trap, Mikoto pulled her hand, and the iron sand wave suddenly surged, forming iron sand swords above Mikoto. Only when there were over 100 iron sand swords, all the iron sand was formed. Over 100 iron sand swords were pointed at the Orochi monster, and each of them was violently vibrating like a chainsaw. Mikoto activated her superpower, and the iron sand swords shot out, piercing through the Orochi monster's scales, and piercing its huge body. Hiss! The iron sand swords pierced through the Orochi monster's body like black needles, and Orochi monster howled in pain. Blood flowed out from its wounds, and covered the iron sand swords, dyeing them red. So strong! Shoujo covered her mouth to stop herself from screaming. She knew that Mikoto was strong, and she could tell from the previous battle between humans and monsters. However, Shoujo still underestimated Mikoto's strength. After becoming Yan's summon, can I also be this strong? Shoujo looked at Mikoto in a daze, and then looked at Wu Yen, who was watching Mikoto fight with a smile. Shoujo's eyes became resolute. I must be this strong. I must. Wu Yen, on the other hand, had another thought in his mind. He didn't expect the difference between Mikoto and Orochi monster to be so huge. Of course, Mikoto was level 69, and Orochi monster was level 60. There was a gap of 9 levels between the two. Although it wasn't as big as the difference in tiers, it was still a big gap. If Mikoto was a peak Type 7 powerhouse on the verge of breaking through to the Type 8 realm, then the Serpent Demon was a newly ascended Type 7 powerhouse that had just broken through to the Type 6 realm. One was a peak Tier 7, the other a newly ascended Tier 7. It was clear who was stronger and who was weaker. What's more, Mikoto didn't hold back at all. This kind-hearted girl would usually restrain her superpower in order to prevent it from harming others. In the original work, Mikoto only used her full power against Fantasy Beast and Accelerator. Other times, her superpower was at most LV4. If it wasn't for this, the original main character Kamijutoma wouldn't have been able to nullify all of Mikoto's attack. That was lightning. Kamijutoma had the ability to nullify anything that didn't belong to the human world, and also had omen perception. But to put it bluntly, he was only LVL0. It was normal for him to block 1 or 2 attacks. Blocking 5 or 6 attacks could be considered putting his life on the line. But to block all of them, that was too unrealistic. The difference between LVL5 and LV4, Wu Yen conservatively estimated it to be the difference between Tier 7 and Tier 6. The difference in tiers isn't that easy to overcome. Right now, the opponent was a monster, not a human. After experiencing a massacre, Mikoto had seen through things a lot. So, with her full power, killing an Orochi monster was more than enough. Wu Yen firmly believes in this point. Mikoto is just as confident. Chapter 46. Ouch ouch ouch. The iron sand sword stabbed into the great serpent demon's body was still vibrating. Every time it vibrated, blood would spurt out. The great serpent demon was in so much pain that its long tail lashed out madly, smashing its dragon throne, its residence, and the honeycomb-like building into pieces. Blood dyed its black snake body red. Orochi opened its remaining snake eye and looked at the tea-haired girl on the ground, who was wrapped in electricity. Its eyes were full of resentment. "Do you hate me?" Mikoto unexpectedly understood the resentment in Orochi's eyes. She was usually soft-hearted, but this time she was incomparably tough. Lifting her heroic face, she looked at Orochi and shouted, "Then who should those existences you call toys, those existences you use as cannon fodder, hate?" With a shout, the sound of thunder followed. The flashing blue and white electricity formed a net in the air. Under Mikoto's control, it enveloped Orochi. Suddenly, the sound of electric current exploded once again, followed closely by the great serpent demon's blood-curdling screams. The net of electric current covered the great serpent demon's body unceasingly, and the great serpent demon's body, which was under the electric shock, emitted a roasted meat fragrance, and its scales turned from black to charred black. The serpent demon wriggled its body and struggled with all its might, trying to break free from the electric net. Unfortunately, the electric net was not a fishing net or a snake-catching net. As long as Mikoto's calculations continued, the electric net would continue until the electric current was extinguished. Orochi was a bit desperate. After being tortured by Wu Yen, it had just returned to its original form. It originally wanted to turn the tables on Wu Yen. It didn't expect that just as it used its huge body to intimidate Wu Yen, this little girl would jump out of nowhere and torture it to death again. Even if all of its subordinates had died, even if its human body had exploded, even if it had reached the point where it had to revert to its original form, the great snake demon had never felt despair. But now it's just a little girl, just a little girl. How can I die in her hands? Roar! With a violent roar, Orochi's snake body stretched out. The net of electricity was actually broken by its movement. What? Mikoto was a bit surprised. She planned to use this net of electricity to end this battle. She didn't expect it to be broken. Roar! The roar from Orochi's mouth was no longer a snake's hiss. It was more like a beast's howl. Orochi had gone completely crazy. Now, it only wanted to kill the girl who brought it pain. With a swing of its tail, the great serpent demon's tail broke through the stone wall and crushed countless stones in its path. Then, it swept towards Mikoto. With the sweep of the tail, a strong wind blew towards Mikoto. Mikoto's body was blown away and she almost fell to the ground. After all, she was only a 14-year-old girl who weighed less than 40 kilograms. The wind pressure was enough to blow her over. Shoujo. Orochi's tail was very long. Even if it wasn't long enough to reach the other side of the square, Wu Yen and Shoujo were just within its attack range. Looking at the sweeping tail, Wu Yen cursed. He hugged Shoujo and jumped, dodging the tail. Seeing Wu Yen and Shoujo dodging Orochi's attack, Mikoto, who was hanging upside down on the cliff, let out a sigh of relief. She didn't realize that she was wearing a skirt. When she was hanging upside down, she revealed the little cutie that Wu Yen put on himself. When Wu Yen saw it, he couldn't help but want to poke Orochi's eyes blind. It was fine if Shoujo saw it. After all, they were both girls. To be seen by a disgusting Orochi was a big loss. No, this snake must die. Mikoto, hurry up and get rid of it! Wu Yen shouted at Mikoto. He hoped that she wouldn't expose herself again. It's fine if she showed it to him, but don't let others take advantage of it. No, don't let other snakes take advantage of it, so noisy. Just be a good girl and watch. Although he said that, he waved his hand and shot out 2 electric spears, hitting the big snake demon's body. Unfortunately, the advantage of the electric shock spear was its speed, but its attack power was really not high. Against a monster with a huge body like the Great Snake Demon, its attack power was obviously insufficient. Unless it was like before and attacked its eyes, it would only be able to numb it. As expected, it's better to use iron sand to attack. Before she could finish her sentence, the Naga demon's head came crashing towards Mikoto. Mikoto calmly stretched out her hand again and pulled the Naga demon to the other side like Mount Tai. Bang! The rock wall was smashed into smithereens. Pieces of rock started falling down. The Naga demon pulled its head out of the rock wall, roared and charged towards Mikoto again. Ah! You're so annoying! The frequent and frenzied attacks in addition to its huge body caused Mikoto to only be able to dodge for a moment. She didn't have the time to launch a powerful attack. One must know that a powerful attack requires a longer time to calculate. This made Mikoto a bit mad. A railgun who can't attack isn't a good railgun. Only a submissive like Wu Yen would feel good in such a situation. Do you need help, Mikoto? Wu Yen hugged Hinajiku and jumped up and down to dodge the attack. He's having a lot of fun dodging the attacks. So he's a submissive after all? I don't need your help. I'm Super Railgun, I know. Hurry up and take care of it, Sis Cannon. Wu Yen really wanted to take care of the Orochi that saw Mikoto's eyes. You bastard! Sparks flew. Wu Yen used his taunt skill and successfully triggered Mikoto's aggro. Mikoto's aggro was maxed out and she transferred it to Orochi. He waved his hand at the iron sand sword on the big snake demon's body. The iron sand sword vibrated again, and like a vampire, it sucked out the big snake demon's blood. The sudden pain caused the big snake demon's attack to deviate, and it plunged into a pile of rocks not far away, causing it to howl in pain. Chance! Mikoto's small face lit up with joy. She stood on the ground and pointed with her little finger. Iron sand poured out again and formed into iron sand swords. Then, with a shout from Mikoto, the swords covered the sky and pierced towards the big snake demon's body. Seeing this, the serpent demon couldn't help but be shocked. Being pierced by these black needles was no joke. Dying from blood loss was a small matter, but dying from pain was a big matter. It quickly twisted its body and dodged the incoming iron sand sword. However, Mikoto was the one controlling the iron sand sword. Under Mikoto's control, the iron sand sword changed direction and continued to stab towards the serpent demon. Once again, the serpent demon rolled its body and dodged all the iron sand swords. After that, it swung its tail and swept all the iron sand swords away, leaving nothing behind. Behave yourself. Mikoto pulled at Orochi's body again. The iron sand swords on Orochi's body were pulled out by Mikoto's electromagnetic force. Without the iron sand swords, Orochi's blood gushed out like a fountain. With a wave of her hands, all the iron sand swords gathered together and scattered into a wave. They surged towards Orochi's head and formed a whirlpool. It was as dense as a dark cloud. Hey! Suddenly, iron sand swords shot out from the iron sand cloud towards the serpent demon. If Orochi was like a hedgehog before, now it was like a rooster. The iron sand swords fell from the sky and pierced its head. Blood splattered everywhere and flowed like a rooster's comb. Orochi looked like a rooster now. Feeling the pain, the big snake demon couldn't help but become even more frenzied. Not only did it not stop attacking because of its injury, it instead increased the frequency of its attacks. Its snake tail swung like a whip, leaving behind afterimages as it attacked Mikoto. Mikoto quickly raised her hand. The iron sand cloud dispersed and flew to Mikoto's side. It formed an iron sand shield and blocked all of Orochi's attacks. The ground was not so lucky. Under Orochi's frenzied attacks, the ground was smashed to pieces. At this time, the place where Mikoto was standing had a huge crater. But the rain of attacks didn't stop because of that. The serpent demon was determined to beat Mikoto to death. It kept swinging its tail and slapping the iron sand shield. Crack! The iron sand shield began to crack. Hearing this, Mikoto's face changed. Blue and white electricity surged all over her body. Her speed increased greatly and she dodged to the side. Bang! The iron sand shield was shattered in an instant. The snake tail fell down and made the crater even bigger. Mikoto had a headache. Although Orochi was strong, there was still a gap between their levels. If it was a normal level 60 monster, Mikoto's first round of attacks would have been enough to kill it. However, the great serpent demon's body was too big. The iron sand sword that was supposed to be fatal had pierced its body back and forth countless times, but it still couldn't kill it. Moreover, the blood that flowed out from its wounds was almost enough to fill a pond, but it was still full of energy and didn't seem tired at all. If this was compared to a game, the great snake demon would be the most classic meat shield. It had high stamina and high HP. If this continued, let alone waiting for it to bleed to death. Even if it was stabbed a few more times and bled a few more times, it would still not be enough to kill this Orochi. Mikoto's other moves were also enough to deal with normal people. However, against Orochi, the damage was too small. It was not enough to defeat it. What Mikoto didn't know was that Orochi was purely relying on its insane willpower to survive. Although it was thanks to its huge body that it was still not defeated, it was still 9 levels lower than Mikoto. This was a huge gap. A gap was a gap. Orochi was now in a frenzied state. It did not care about its own body. It only wanted to defeat Mikoto. As long as it did not die, it would not stop attacking. Therefore, it led to this situation. It became an existence that could not be defeated. Unless it was a killing move that could kill it in one hit. And Mikoto just happened to have such a killing move. On a piece of undamaged ground, Mikoto stood there. She stared at Orochi, who was about to turn around and look for a target to attack. In an instant, the electric current on her body surged. The blue and white electric current flowed rapidly, emitting a powerful blue light. Mikoto's hair and clothes fluttered as if they were being blown by a gust of wind. Beep, beep, beep sounds of electric current could be heard incessantly. At some point, Mikoto slowly reached out her hand. She pinched a coin in her hand and extended it towards the big snake demon that turned its head towards her. With a flick of her finger, the coin bounced up. At the same time, the electric current on Mikoto's body flowed towards her outstretched hand. It came to Mikoto's upside-down thumb and gathered together to form a white. Orochi roared and charged towards Mikoto. Mikoto ignored it. The electric current on her body flowed again. Under the electromagnetic force, the coin floated in the air and fell towards Mikoto's upside-down thumb. Looking at Orochi that was about to hit her, Mikoto's eyes narrowed. The coin came to her thumb and she flicked it out. An orange beam of light shot towards the great snake demon. The beam of light pierced through its head, through its body, and out from its tail. It streaked into the distance. Chapter 47. Ding. Congratulations to user for leveling up. Current level, 46. Ding. Congratulations to user for leveling up. Current level, 47. Ding. Congratulations to user for leveling up. Current level, 48. Ding. Congratulations to user for leveling up. Current level, 49. Looking at Mikoto, who was still in her shooting position, Wu Yen was in a daze. What a classic scene! When was Mikoto the most attention-grabbing moment? 10% of the people would answer that it was when Mikoto was acting like a tsundere. The other 10% would answer that it was when Mikoto was hugging Kota. As for the other 80%, they would answer the same question, that it was when Mikoto used the railgun. This was a scene that made people feel Mikoto's domineering side. It was a scene that could only be seen on the screen. But now it was happening right in front of Wu Yen. Mikoto's image was once again etched into Wu Yan's mind. Domineering, heroic, and handsome. Compared to this feeling, the joy of leveling up was much smaller. After all, the opponent was a level 60 monster. Even though he was 15 levels higher, he only leveled up by 4 levels. Wu Yen could only say that the wall between the tiers was too thick. As for Mikoto, she didn't even level up once. Wu Yen couldn't even level up to tier 6. If Mikoto wanted to level up to tier 8, it would probably take a long time. So cool. Even Shoujo couldn't help but praise. Shoujo's image as cool was already deeply rooted in people's hearts. If she said so, then it really was cool. Yen this. Mikoto came to Wu Yen and Shoujo's side and handed a piece of jade to Wu Yen. At this time, the Orochi monster was already dead. Naturally, the jade of the Heavenly Palace was taken by Mikoto. I finally got it. Wu Yen took the jade of the Heavenly Palace and couldn't help but sigh. In just one day and one night, the three of them had experienced a lot. From the wall demon in the beginning, to the wolf demon, the demon horde, the tree demon, and the Orochi demon, although it was just one day and one night, the process was indeed not easy. Mikoto and Hinajuku also fell into deep thought. Compared to Wu Yen, the two of them had to endure a lot more psychologically. That massacre might have changed them quite a bit. At the very least, Mikoto, this kind of Yakuza who only brings harm and no benefits, is now capable of killing. Although Wu Yen doesn't think it's possible for her to kill someone. But the rewards were also great. At first, Wu Yen was only level 30 tier 4. In just one day and one night, not only did he level up to level 49, almost tier 6, he also received a huge sum of money. 830,000, no 820,000 item points. Even Mikoto leveled up to level 69. He also received the Jade of the Heavenly Palace. As long as he took the Jade of the Heavenly Palace to I Cheng's mother for the mysterious crystal shard, Wu Yan's quest would be completed. The rewards were not small. Wu Yen walked up to the head of the Orochi monster and sighed. Mikoto's railgun had blown through it from head to tail. Perhaps even at the moment of its death, the Orochi monster still hadn't reacted. Ding! Received 50,000 item points. After handing over the Orochi monster's ridiculously large body to the system in exchange for 50,000 item points, this trip to the seal barrier had come to an end. At the same time, Wu Yan's journey as the whirlwind butler had also come to an end. Yen, I'll return this to you. Sorry, I don't need it. Mikoto smiled as she took out a bottle of potion from her pocket and handed it to Wu Yen. It was the resplendent breath that Wu Yen gave her before the battle. Why are you giving it to me? You should keep it. It's a lifesaver when you're in danger. Wu Yen glanced at her. With 825,000 item points, why would he be stingy with a bottle of resplendent breath? Isn't it more useful for you to keep it? Mikoto said confidently, as if she was the one standing in front of the truth. Wu Yen couldn't help but glare at her. I have plenty of item points now. What else do I need? You should keep it for yourself. Don't think you can do anything just because you won't die. You should know that resurrecting you will require summoning points. I don't have any extra summoning points to resurrect you. Wu Yan's summoning points were now 11,000. When he first summoned Mikoto, he used 70,000 summoning points. Resurrecting a summoned character would require half of the summoning point. In other words, resurrecting Mikoto would require 35,000 summoning points. What? If you die, won't I die too? I'm doing this for myself, Mikoto said awkwardly. She did have the urge to try something daring just because she could resurrect. Of course, it was just an impulse. She wasn't stupid enough to die for no reason. From this, it could be seen that Siskanen was very eager to find excitement. Since this idiot doesn't want it, then Shoujo, I'll give it to you. Mikoto turned her head away angrily as if rejecting her kindness was a stupid thing to do. Wu Yen was speechless. Me? I don't need it either. Hinagika hurriedly waved her hand. Once this mission is over and we go to the other world, Yen will summon me over. At that time, I will be the same as you, so I don't need it. Have you really thought it through? Shoujo. Hearing Shoujo's words, Wu Yen couldn't help but ask. If you leave with us, what about your parents? What about your sister? Are you willing to let her go? Shoujo was stunned. She thought for a while and smiled. Yeah, I want to choose for myself too. Besides, didn't you say that? As long as you leave, this world will freeze. The world will stop. You don't have to worry about them. You want to make a choice for yourself. Wu Yen fell silent. Why are you so long-winded? Do you have a problem with that? Mikoto crossed her arms in front of her chest and looked at Wu Yen with dissatisfaction. I said I want to choose for myself. Why are you being so wishy-washy? How am I being wishy-washy? Wu Yen retorted righteously with a, I'm doing this for your own good look. I'm just asking for her opinion. How is this being wishy-washy? You still dare to argue. Sparks flashed across Mikoto's forehead. She sneered. You should know that when I was summoned by you, you didn't ask for my opinion at all. Don't tell me I don't have parents? Wu Yan's lips twitched as he dryly laughed. Fine, it's my fault. Wu Yen cared a lot about Shoujo's opinion. If Kaishu-sama doesn't want to go to Silveria with him, he can't force her. Wu Yen also wants to be with Kaishu-sama. That's why when Shoujo chose to follow them, Wu Yen was happy and proud. If a woman is willing to follow you to the ends of the earth, then there's a 90% chance of cheating. Thinking up to this point, Wu Yen got more and more pleased with himself, to the point that he is showing it on his face. Seeing Wu Yan's proud face, Shoujo snorted. Of course, I'm not doing this for you. I'm just protecting Mikoto. Protecting Mikoto? Wu Yan's proud face froze. Protecting Mikoto? What kind of bullshit reason is this? She's 2 times higher than you, girl. Protect me. Mikoto flinched, she patted her flat breasts and confidently said. Don't worry, Shoujo. I'm very strong, I can protect myself. That's not what I'm talking about. Shoujo walked to Mikoto's side and hugged her arm. I'm talking about protecting you. I'm talking about protecting you from this pervert. If I don't go, who knows what this big pervert will do to you when you're alone with him? How is that possible? Mikoto's eyebrows twitched. Under Shoujo's valiant words, 2 cute blushes appeared on her face. Wu Yen opened his mouth and widened his eyes. He looked at Shoujo and shouted. I'm innocent. How am I a pervert? Shoujo, don't accuse me. You still dare to say you're not? Shoujo's face also reddened. She gritted her teeth and looked at Wu Yen. You can even take off our clothes and give us a bath. What else can't you do? Mikoto's face reddened when the past was brought up again. She glared at Wu Yen and looked at Shoujo. That's right, Shoujo. You have to protect me. You can't let me be alone with him. Wu Yen really didn't know what to say this time. Kelp-shaped tears flowed down his cheeks like a river. Can't refute that. Who told him to have a criminal record? When Wu Yan's group walked out of the cave after half a day, the first thing they saw was Yi Cheng's mother sitting in front of the helicopter. She looked at them blankly. Her face was full of disbelief. She looked at Wu Yan's group like she was looking at Buddha. She muttered, Hey, why did I have such a strange dream? It doesn't make sense. They're not my cute Yi Cheng. Why would I dream of such a strange thing? Wu Yen, Mikoto, and Shoujo were speechless. Wu Yen helplessly curled his lips. He took out the heavenly jade and walked in front of Yi Cheng's mother. He said with a smile, "Lady of the Heron Palace, we didn't disappoint you. We've brought back the heavenly jade." However, Yi Cheng's mother seemed to really treat Wu Yen as an illusion. She still muttered her own words. Her level of disregard could break through the sky. "Lady of the Heron Palace, we didn't disappoint you. We've brought back the heavenly jade." Wu Yan's voice had changed a little. His voice was full of resentment. While it scared Mikoto and Shoujo, it also woke up Yi Cheng's mother. Could she blame Wu Yan? How could he communicate with Yi Cheng's mother if he didn't put in some effort? Yi Cheng's mother looked at the heavenly jade in Wu Yan's hand and said softly, "You're really back? You're all fine?" "Yes, we're all fine. We've returned safely. We also helped you deal with all the monsters in the barrier. In the future, your family won't have to worry about the barrier anymore," Wu Yan said with a smile as he handed the heavenly jade to Yi Cheng's mother. Caressing the jade of the heavenly palace in her hand, Yi Cheng's mother didn't say anything. However, the most beautiful smile Wu Yan has ever seen since he met her appeared on her face. Holding the jade of the heavenly palace tightly, Yi Cheng's mother placed it on her cheek and closed her eyes as if she had just received a treasure. Wu Yan, Mikoto, and Hinajuku smiled at this scene. They know that Yi Cheng's mom isn't acting like this for the sake of her family or the family treasure. She's just doing this for her daughter. She's trying to protect her daughter's spiritual power. That's why she's acting like this. Yi Cheng had a good mother. After recovering from her joy, Yi Cheng's mother sincerely bowed to Wu Yan and the other two. Thank you very much. You're welcome. We each took what we needed." Wu Yan touched his nose and said embarrassedly. He wasn't good at dealing with this kind of situation, so he felt a little awkward. Yi Cheng's mother smiled and nodded. She took out the mysterious crystal shard and slowly raised it in front of Wu Yan. "This is what Wu Yan Kun needs. I'll leave it to you. Wu Yan Kun, I believe that Wu Yan Kun will be able to handle it well." Wu Yan took the crystal and raised it over his head. He closed one eye and looked at the crystal. Under the sunlight, the crystal emitted a warm light. It seemed to symbolize a new beginning. Chapter 48. Phew. The bed is still the most comfortable. Wu Yan was lying on his bed, rubbing his hands against the blanket. If it was a girl doing this, it would undoubtedly be very pleasing to the eye. Unfortunately, Wu Yan's actions were indescribably wretched. Wu Yan didn't care if he looked wretched or not. After staying in that place for a day and a night, Wu Yan missed his bed very much. If it was anyone else, they would be like Wu Yan if they stayed in that place for a day and a night with demons and ghosts as their companions. Of course, strictly speaking, the bed didn't belong to Wu Yan. It belonged to Shoujo. Wu Yan was just a lodger. Not only Wu Yan, Shoujo and Mikoto were also sleeping soundly in their room. They even refused to see Shoujo's mother when she asked about their whereabouts. One could imagine how they were feeling right now. After rolling around childishly, Wu Yan finally stopped his brainless actions. Wu Yan flipped his hands and two crystals appeared in his hand. Beat. Discovered two mysterious crystal fragments. Will you fuse them? This system notification rang in Wu Yan's ears when he received the mysterious crystal fragments from Wu Yan's mother. After all, Wu Yan's third mission was to find two mysterious crystal fragments and fuse them into a complete mysterious crystal. At that time, Wu Yan didn't know if he would leave this dungeon world immediately after fusing the mysterious crystal. On the way back, Wu Yan had already asked the system. The system's answer was that the user would only return to the Spalier world after leaving this dungeon world. Without any worries, Wu Yan of course chose to fuse the mysterious crystal as soon as possible because the reward for the third mission was very ambiguous. He could randomly draw a reward from equipment, items, abilities, or summons. This reward was good. If he could draw something heaven-defying, such as an S-rank equipment, an item, an ability like the Demon Eye of Death, or a demigod rank girl, the reward would be indescribably good. Wu Yen would be so happy that he would jump off a building. If he was unlucky and got something of little value, he wouldn't even have a place to cry. If it wasn't for the system telling him that the highest level of summons is demigod rank, if there are no gods, he would have wanted to try his luck at drawing one. Of course, he really wanted to draw one now. Wu Yen had an indescribable feeling when it came to activities like drawing a reward. Being dominated by the idea of, I don't know what I'm going to get. He's not in a good mood during the lottery draw. From his point of view, this is a kind of thrill, and he likes this kind of thrill. That's why I said you're a bottom. Weighing the mysterious crystal shard in his hand, the desire to draw a reward grew stronger and stronger in his heart, making Wu Yan's heart itch. Therefore, Wu Yan immediately chose to fuse the mysterious crystal shard. When Wu Yan chose to fuse, the two mysterious crystal shards left his hand uncontrollably and floated in midair. In front of Wu Yan, under Wu Yan's astonished gaze, the two mysterious crystal shards suddenly accelerated and collided with each other. There was no strange sound, no strange phenomenon. When the two mysterious crystal shards collided, they were like water naturally fusing together. In the blink of an eye, a complete mysterious crystal shard appeared in front of Wu Yan and fell into Wu Yan's arms. Ding! Mission 3 completed. Mission reward. User can randomly draw a reward from equipment, items, abilities, or summons. Please make a random draw. The system list opened automatically, without Wu Yan's consent, and projected in front of Wu Yan. A glowing box stopped below the status bar. On top of the equipment option, a start icon appeared, surprising Wu Yan. As long as one wasn't an idiot, one would know what to do at this time. Therefore, Wu Yan straightforwardly pressed the start button. The glowing box flashed back and forth between equipment, items, abilities, and summons. Wu Yan's heart skipped a beat. At the same time, an inexplicable sense of excitement rose in his heart. When the box stopped flashing, Wu Yan was disappointed because it stopped at the item option. Were points precious? Wu Yan could tell you very clearly that they were very precious. Wu Yan now had 1,000 equipment points, 81,000 ability points, 11,000 summoning points, and 825,000 item points. Now Wu Yan lacked everything except item points. No matter what item he wanted, this amount of points was enough to buy most of the items in the item list. Therefore, item points alone were what Wu Yan lacked the least. But the reward was to draw from the item list? Wu Yan couldn't help but feel a bit disappointed. S-class equipment? Overpowered ability? Demigod level girl? That was all for naught. Facing the item list that popped up, Wu Yan casually pressed the start button again. Then, without caring about anything else, he began to think about what to do when he returned to the Spalier world. In the beginning, Wu Yan was too weak. Because he needed to become stronger, Wu Yan chose to stay in the Behemoth Forest and do mercenary quests and system quests while killing monsters to level up. Now, after a month of training in Butler Whirlwind's dungeon, Wu Yan's strength was already at the peak of Tier 5. He was only one step away from Tier 6. Then, there was no reason for him to stay in the Behemoth Forest. The outer edge of the Behemoth Forest could no longer satisfy Wu Yan, let alone the level 69 Mikoto. There was no need for him to continue staying there. Moreover, ever since Wu Yan transmigrated to the Spalier world, he had never left the Behemoth Forest. Even if he did, he would only go to the town to resupply. Therefore, Wu Yan was thinking about whether he should go to other places, for example, the Ailu Empire or the Lori family. Wu Yan had never forgotten the first person he met when he arrived in the Spalier world. Ever since Lulu returned home, Wu Yan had stayed in the Behemoth Forest for 2 months. Then, he stayed in Butler Whirlwind's house for another month. The time ratio between the dungeon world and the Spalier world was 100:1. In other words, it had been about half a day in the Spalier world. In other words, it had been about 2 months since Lulu returned home. He had no relatives or friends in the Spalier world. If he wanted to go anywhere, he needed a destination. Maybe he should go find Lulu. But would she welcome him? If it was Lulu, she would probably. If it was Feifei, it would probably be the same. But her family wouldn't allow Lulu to interact with someone of unknown origin, right? If he went to find Lulu like this, would he really be a man? Feifei had said before that the strongest person in her family was the previous head of the family, who was a Tier 9. If there were Tier 9 fighters, then there would be Tier 8 fighters as well. There should be plenty of Tier 7 fighters as well. On his side, Mikoto was the only Tier 7 fighter. If he rushed in recklessly, he would only be courting death. But I don't think I'm going to fight, right? Why am I thinking about this? I'm just going to see Lulu. Wu Yen couldn't help but bitterly laugh at his own deranged thoughts. Too many battles have led him to think about everything in this direction. No way. I'm an otaku, I should think about the 2D girls. That's right, I should think about who the next girl I want to summon is. That's the main point. Ugh. I think it's Shoujo. Just as Wu Yen was thinking about random things, a card suddenly fell on him. Wu Yen couldn't help but be surprised. At the same time, the system's voice rang. Ding. Obtained ability acquisition. Ability acquisition? What the hell? Wu Yen looked at the card in his hand in puzzlement. It was completely white, there was nothing on it. Wu Yen shook his head and activated the system's probing function. The system's probing function doesn't only check the level, it can also check the use of items and equipment, just like an appraisal. Wu Yen couldn't help but be stunned. Ability acquisition. After use, one of the summoned character's abilities will be acquired. The amount of ability acquired will be 1/10 of the summoned character's ability. Item points, 300,000. An item to acquire a summoned character's ability? Is there such an item in the item list? Wu Yen opened the item list and after some searching, he really found the ability acquisition item. 300,000 item points. That's really expensive, but it's still worth it. Wu Yen looked at the ability acquisition item and smiled. Even though he didn't have much hope for this lucky draw, but to be able to get 300,000 item points, his luck is pretty good. If it was before, it might have been a surprise. Well, even though it can't compare to his whimsical S-grade equipment, but to be able to acquire an ability is still pretty good. Mikoto is the only summoned character he has, and her ability is only Electromancer, LV5. In other words, this is the only ability he can acquire. Acquire 1/10 of Mikoto's ability? That's at least LV4. The 300,000 item points he had spent to obtain the LV4 electrocute ability was worth it. One must know that Mikoto's ability is also in the ability list, and LV4 requires 30,000 item points. Before that, he still needs to exchange for LV1 to LV3 abilities before he can get LV4. In the end, he needs around 30,000 item points. A ability acquisition card worth 300,000 item points for a 30,000 item points ability. No matter how you look at it, it's still a loss, right? Actually, it's not like that. Item points and ability points are not compared like that. The rarer something is, the more valuable it is. Among the 4 types of points, the most valuable is summoning points because it's the hardest to acquire. Next is ability points, equipment points are close behind, and item points are the easiest to acquire. After all, Wu Yen needs to fight monsters to level up. Once he kills a monster, as long as he kills it, there will usually be corpses. Turning these corpses over to the system, he can more or less get some item point. Among the other items, the easiest to exchange for points is also item point. Therefore, 300,000 item points and 30,000 ability points are actually not that different. It's just a matter of how Wu Yen uses it. If he uses it on a useless character, of course he will lose out. But if he uses it on a strong character, he can even earn back. Using it on Mikoto is just right. Therefore, Wu Yan used ability acquisition without hesitation and clicked on Mikoto's character status. Ding! Obtained Electromancer, LV4. A ball of blue and white electric current suddenly flowed on Wu Yan's body. As the electric current flowed, Wu Yan's body felt a stinging pain. Gradually, Wu Yan's body began to hurt, which surprised Wu Yan. Ding! User's level is too low, unable to adapt to the strength of the ability. Ability has begun feedback, forcibly increasing user's level. Ding! User's physical strength has met the requirements, level up successful. Ding! Congratulations to user for leveling up. Current level, 50. The sudden warm current once again stunned Wu Yan. Feeling his physical strength increasing, Wu Yan was even more confused. Could it be that exchanging abilities can also level up? Chapter 49. Did I really reach level 50 just like that? Wu Yan looked at his hands and felt that it was unbelievable. This was not the first time that Wu Yan had exchanged for abilities. For example, Sword Mastery and Chaotic Return to Horizon Dance were all abilities that he had exchanged for. However, before this, he had not leveled up at all. Why would a level 4 ability suddenly level up when he obtained it? System, can I level up when I exchange for abilities? Wu Yan immediately asked the system. User, if you only exchange for abilities, there is no way to level up. No way to level up? Wu Yan was puzzled. Then why would he level up? Also, what did only mean? In other words, it was not only that he could level up? Wu Yan's head was about to explode when he heard the system's professional jargon. Then why would a level 4 ability suddenly level up when I obtained it? User, this is an exception. An exception? Some powerful abilities have requirements for the user's level. When the user's level meets the requirements of the ability, the user can then exchange for the ability. If the user does not meet the requirements of the ability will undergo feedback and forcibly raise the user's level until the user meets the requirements of the ability. Hearing this, Wu Yan was a little enlightened and then became excited. Then, if I can exchange for a super powerful ability with a high level requirement, then I can level up quickly. That's right. If the ability's requirements were high and Wu Yan did not meet the requirements, then his level would be forcibly raised. If the level requirement was too high, then it would also help Wu Yan raise his level to a very high level. As long as he obtained enough ability points and exchanged for an ability with a celestial level requirement, then he would become a god. At this time, Wu Yan had already started to think about how to earn ability points. Unfortunately, this was just a fantasy. When Wu Yan's fantasy reached its peak, the system poured a basin of cold water on him. Reminder to the user. The user has exchanged for an overly powerful ability. When receiving the feedback of the ability, if the user's body cannot withstand the feedback of the ability, the user's body will disintegrate and die. Wu Yan's smirking face suddenly froze, and then he smiled as if nothing had happened. If the body can't withstand the energy feedback, it will die. Is that what you want to say? Yes. As if it did not notice the dark aura behind Wu Yan, the system's mechanical and emotionless voice revealed the cruel truth. Wu Yan was angry. He jumped up and shouted, "If that's the case, why didn't you remind me? You have to know that I just received the feedback of an ability. What if I couldn't withstand it and died?" As he stomped his feet, Wu Yan patted his chest in fear. No wonder his body was in so much pain after receiving a tenth of Mikoto's ability. It was the body's ability feedback. If he wasn't able to take it, Wu Yan shuddered. His eyes that were filled with rage also showed signs of weeping, but no tears came out. A system that doesn't cheat people isn't called a system. Sure enough, all the systems in history are cheating people. When the user can't withstand the energy feedback, the system will automatically remind the user and forcibly stop the ability. This is the system's setting. Then why didn't you remind me? You don't say. When a person is angry, the system's calm voice is like oil. It makes the person who heard it even angrier. The current Wu Yan was in such a mood. The level requirement for a LV4 ability is level 50, and the user was level 49 at that time. He was only a bit away from level 50. The feedback of the ability was not high. According to the system's judgment, the user's body is strong enough to withstand the energy feedback. There is no danger of death. It is within the system's permissible range. There is no need to remind the user. Resisting the urge to perish together with the system, he leapt back onto the bed. The background is dark, the aura of death is all over him, and his heart is cold. It was within the system's permissible range? The feedback was not high? What the hell, the pain just now was so intense that he wanted to die. You call that not high? It was within the permissible range? Bringing bad luck to me in a situation where my life is not in danger, this is within the permissible range. How can this be? Coach, I want to appeal. Just forcibly leveling up one level caused his body to suffer so much pain. If it wasn't for the fact that he successfully leveled up, his body would probably be so tired that he couldn't move. If he leveled up too much, wouldn't he be dead meat? Looks like I have to be more careful when exchanging for abilities in the future. The next morning, Wu Yan got out of bed. After stretching, Wu Yan walked out of his room. After sleeping for an entire day, it's time to leave this world and return to the Spalier world. At this time, the sun had just risen. Chuju's mother hasn't woken up yet. Thus, Wu Yan walked directly to Chuju's room. Mikoto and Chuju are sleeping in the same room. Yuri's intention is clear. Without knocking, Wu Yan opened the door and walked in. With Mikoto's ability, it's a lot more convenient to open locks. Of course, the chances to enjoy benefits have also increased. Maintaining the position of opening the door, Wu Yan looked at the two sleeping girls on the bed. After thinking for 0.1 seconds, he walked in. Of course, he still eliminated the sound of his footstep. Closing the door behind him, Wu Yan found a chair and sat down. He couldn't wait to look at the bed. From time to time, he would nod in satisfaction. For some unknown reason, the two women, who had to wear pajamas to sleep, were now completely naked. Well, it can't be said that they are naked. The lower half of their bodies are still wearing the little cuties that Wu Yan put on them. It can be considered as not having a full body. But it's almost there. Although he doesn't know what kind of fun game they played last night, that's why they aren't wearing pajamas, but of course, he can't miss this opportunity. Thus, Wu Yan almost instantly used perfect memory to record this scene in his mind. Glancing at Chuju and Mikoto's small breasts, Wu Yan couldn't help but sigh. They still haven't grown much. If I knew earlier, I would have helped them develop a bit more when I helped them bathe last time. Perhaps because Wu Yan's gaze was too unrestrained, the sleeping Mikoto couldn't help but wake up. As a level 69 Mikoto, how could she not notice someone intruding while she was sleeping? If it wasn't for the fact that she was in a safe place and that she was too tired yesterday, she would have already woken up. Opening her eyes, Mikoto vigilantly looked at Wu Yan's direction. When she saw that the person in question was Wu Yan, she couldn't help but be stunned. Then, she frowned. What are you doing here? Also, you're very rude, you didn't even wake me up. Seeing Mikoto talk to him so calmly, completely ignoring her severely exposed body, Wu Yan was stunned. After a while, Wu Yan knew that things were bad. Last time when he helped Mikoto take a bath, Wu Yan still remembered how Mikoto dealt with him. This time, he's really going to die again. Wu Yan's heart was starting to feel a bit scared. Since he's half dead, Wu Yan prepared to persuade Mikoto to at least not wake Kaisha-sama up. Wu Yan looked at Mikoto seriously and said, Mikoto, you must listen to me, you must not be impulsive. Mikoto yawned and sat up. Just like that, her beautiful body was exposed in front of Wu Yan. But Wu Yan wasn't in the mood to continue admiring it, because Mikoto's yawn suddenly stopped halfway. She felt her body become cold. She finally remembered what state she was in. Her eyes slightly protruding, Mikoto stared blankly at Wu Yen. Feeling her body become colder and colder, her face finally changed. Shit. Seeing Mikoto's face slowly turning into one of fear and her mouth starting to move, he quickly jumped in front of her and covered her mouth with his hand. Mikoto, it's my fault, it's all my fault. But don't scream, at least don't let Hinajika wake up. Otherwise, everyone in the neighborhood will know that I've seen you naked. Being shocked by Wu Yan's actions, Mikoto's face started to brighten up. Shame? Shyness? In short, Mikoto's head started to emit sparks. If it was before, Wu Yan would have started praying for himself in the face of being electrocuted. But now, he has the same ability as Mikoto. Even though he's only at LV4, which is equivalent to 1/10 of Mikoto's level, just electrocution alone can't do anything to him. Ignoring the electricity on Mikoto's body, Wu Yan was only worried that the sound of Mikoto's electricity would wake Shoujo up. If that happens, he'll be dead for sure. Compared to the powerful Mikoto, for some reason, Wu Yan is more afraid of Kaisha-sama. Calm down. Seeing Mikoto's body getting more and more electric current and the sound getting louder and louder, Wu Yan started to get anxious. In his desperation, Wu Yan flipped over and pressed Mikoto down on the bed. He kept shaking his head to and fro, telling her to calm down. But Wu Yan apparently forgot that this kind of action is the prelude to some kind of pushing down action. The electricity on Mikoto's body had already disappeared. She was pushed down on the bed by Wu Yan and pressed down on Wu Yan's body. Seeing Wu Yan's face so close to hers, Mikoto's eyes rolled back and her mind went blank. Wu Yan looked at Mikoto strangely. Seeing that she's in a daze and not moving at all, he couldn't help but consider whether or not he should make a run for it. Beep! The sound of electricity flowed again. Mikoto's head was smoking and electricity was emitting from her forehead. She looked at Wu Yan as if she was looking at a dead man. The truth is, Mikoto really wanted to kill Wu Yan. No, she didn't want to, she already started to act. In a flash, Mikoto directed all the electricity to Wu Yan's body, trying to electrocute Wu Yan to death. The sudden electricity made Wu Yan gasp for breath. But in the blink of an eye, he returned to normal. Mikoto was obviously holding back. The electricity she released wasn't enough to hurt anyone. Thus, Wu Yan, who also had the ability to electrocute, took it all. He didn't receive any damage at all, not even a strand of his hair stood up. Hee, little girl, your ability is useless against me. It's better if you listen to me obediently. Feeling that Mikoto was no longer a threat to him, Wu Yan was pleased. Mikoto looked at Wu Yan in surprise. With her mouth covered, she couldn't say anything so naturally, she couldn't ask any questions. But, questions and whatnot can wait until after Sky takes care of this damned pervert, it won't be too late to ask. Electrocution didn't work. Does that mean Mikoto has no other methods? No, staying by Chuja's side for a while, Mikoto didn't learn nothing. She reached out and clenched her fist. With a red face, Mikoto punched Wu Yan, this shameless guy, away from her body. Then she quickly pulled the blanket over her body and buried her head in it. When did Wani-sama have such strength? Lying on the floor, Wu Yan's head was full of such thoughts. She had enough strength to punch him away. Why did that Yuri girl Shiroi Kuriko touch his body when he overused his ability and ran out of electricity? This doesn't make sense.